Sky is falling and everything's gone horribly wrong. It's Malifaux 3rd edition. Welcome to episode 105 of the Critical Twits. I'm Brian.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Joe.
And we are joined by our special guest,
Rob.
And we are going to talk Malifaux, specifically the hot news that there will be a hot new edition of the hot war game Malifaux. I've said hot too
much. Is this because they've buffed Karis?
It's because it's too hot. We are in the
summer.
We are in the midst of a heat wave, and therefore all of my words will make little sense. That's why I've hired 3 compatriots to come and talk to us.
What's the excuse the rest of the year?
The new burning condition.
Right. Sure.
Yes, or crack. Lots and lots of sweet crack. Last week, Weird announced that there was a new edition of Malifaux in the works. They've called it 3rd edition, even though it's actually the 4th edition of the game, because Malifaux had a 1st edition back many years ago, then there was a 1.5, then 2nd edition, and then 3rd.
Was it an addition or an iteration of the first one with changes?
It was Malifaux 1.5.
Right, so then this is the 3rd edition.
I don't like that. It's the 4th version of the game. And there we're done. I will brook no argument here. We're going to have a chat about 3rd edition, what we know so far, what we might speculate will actually be happening going forwards, and whether or not we think that Malifaux actually needs a 3rd edition, which will be our starting point, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Aaron.
Yes.
And Joe.
Next part.
Rob?
Probably.
I have been saying for years now, a short an amount of time, that I think Malifaux needs a 3rd edition for various reasons.
Which could all be summed up by trying to introduce new players to the game.
Oh, Jesus, yes. So that kind of ties in nicely with what I was going to say. A couple of months ago, I tried to introduce my significant other to the game of Malifaux, and then I nearly died in a related confusion-based moment where I was trying to explain exactly how Hamlin worked. Now, there's always different things in different games where certain masters, factions, units, ways of playing are harder to explain to new people than others. And then we dialed it back to the basic box game and it made much more sense. But we're just throwing around all sorts of conditions and complicated things and...
Complicated? You introduced me to it with Pandora.
Yes, which I'm very surprised you're still here. So...
It's obviously had a lingering effect.
Yeah, and we'll talk about things.
Ever since.
We'll talk about things like that was good. We'll talk about things like the conditions in a bit. I do feel that Malifaux in the last couple of years has become incredibly bloated. There are a lot of models, a lot of masters, and a lot of different rules and similar abilities with different names and different abilities with the same names. That's probably not a thing, but it feels like it sometimes. Lots of conditions, lots of things to juggle. It become, I feel, too big for a skirmish game. There's too much going on, and actually Weird have used the word bloat in their official correspondence. I find the many erratas and FAQs to be the FAQs very big. The erratas, they happen every 6 months, but it's really annoying trying to get new cards all the time and to try and keep up with it. And I do feel that the character of the different factions has become a bit smudged together, especially with the last set of masters that came out. Everyone kind of got a generalist, which meant every faction could kind of do everything by now, because there's kind of models to do everything. Every faction has access to good range, good melee, good summoning.
Neverborn still lacks the good range.
Yes, yeah. Poor Neverborn.
I can't talk to the others, but
it just felt a bit
but
kind of
the rest
black.
of it is very true. And I like that they're taking steps to rectify that. I think it's a really good position for the game to move towards. So I'm excited for it.
Yes. Yeah.
I've kind of been floating away from Malifaux since, February?
This last time we played a lot of games was sort of February, March kind of time, wasn't it?
We got together at the start of April.
Oh yes,
Played 2 games each.
Yeah.
I think, and then people had to leave early, so not a lot happened, and it wasn't terribly enthusing.
It's not particularly quick to pick back up again because there's so much stuff you have to try and remind yourself of at the moment, I think.
But then, my approach has been, everyone goes, oh, you've got to learn this and this and this. No. I need to read my opponent's cards, or at least skim them to start with.
Yeah.
As long as I know what my lot do, and I'm willing to trust my opponent. I suppose that's because I don't play in many tournaments. I don't have that issue. I don't feel the need to memorise everything.
No.
I don't know how Hamlin plays. Never read him. I barely know how Jackdaw plays. Never played against him.
Yeah.
It's been that sort of, I'll discover things as I go. That's probably why I have the longest lose record around the table.
Only just. It's okay.
Yeah. But no, trying to introduce new people to it, was messy.
Yeah.
That's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
As they've said, the number of upgrade cards available. I like the upgrades in the way it takes people in different directions, so each master had different play styles.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then a lot of the upgrades, from what I've been reading into, were rules that they took off the models from 1.5 edition. Rather than having loads and loads of extra rules and 4 attack options, you get 2 attack options for a master, and then the other 2 would be on separate upgrades, maybe limited, so you could...
Yeah.
And they had to up the points value to allow you to buy upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, Rasputina's an example of that. And interestingly, actually, it's quite nice because she's popped up as a model. We've seen some of her stuff for this one. So she works as a quite nice step between the 3. She had things like her ice pillars that are on an upgrade that used to be just a thing she could do. There were a few other little bits like it as well. So I kind of like to step back towards it. I am going to be massively mourning the loss of Tara and her 12 upgrades.
That's ridiculous.
I want to play an 8-point master that costs me points to play the master because it has that many upgrades.
We'll play a game with it because, and this takes me back to the regularly scheduled programming, the beta has been announced. It's not starting yet. Weird communication suggests it's not going to hit until after Gen Con, which is this week. This weekend. Yeah, this weekend. And there is no release date announced. Now, people are saying it won't be until at least the start of next year. I would doubt it will be before Gen Con 2018.
19.
That's the one. I can't do years. I've forgotten what year it is. I'm getting old.
I can guarantee it won't be before
Yes, exactly. Brilliant. And also, it won't be before Gen Con 2019 because, and this is probably the first pertinent point, they are saying that all models that currently exist within the game will be playable on the launch of the new edition. Lots of people were... So lots of people were really annoyed with the change from 1, 1.5, 1.86, whatever you want to call it, into 2 because there were masters that existed, there were models for people have been playing that you couldn't play for a year until the second book came out. I have our first correspondence from our medical... I was going to say medical marvel. That's not the word. Our medical correspondent.
No, Colin's not involved.
Yeah. From Tom.
He's more of a medical meddler.
Resident McMorning, who has pointed out to me quite nicely that it's a double-edged sword, so you don't get that 1.5 to 2 nonsense that put a lot of people off, but it doesn't address the issue of bloat. And it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't.
Yeah. I disagree with that. I think it does address the thing of bloat because of the way they're now doing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to... Yeah, I'm going to have to explain what that is for those at home. What they're doing is they are going away from I play Arcanists, so I'll just take all the best different bits from the random sort of mini factions in Arcanists, put them in a list and murder people.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's my favourite thing to do. It was very successful.
That's what's wrong with it.
Yeah. So they're working now more towards keywords. So you're going to have Arcanists, for example, as your faction. But if you play Rasputina, she's going to have the keyword Ice Dickhead. And you're only going to be able to take other Ice Dickheads with her at their regular points cost.
If Weird are listening, please call them Ice Dickheads.
Or at least December Dickhead, which appears to be the other lines on there.
That's alliterative.
Yeah. So the
Awesomely
newly named
alliterative.
December dickheads won't, for example, just be able to rope Joss in.
Yeah.
They will, but it will come at a cost.
Yeah.
So that addresses bloat in a way. The other thing they're doing is they're binning off the whole mercenary thing. Mercenaries do not exist in the way they do in M2.
Yes, so you're not going to be able to hire cross-faction and hire the best models from other factions if they've got mercenary.
Will, but I think it will be keyword-based,
Yeah.
not just generic. That one's really good, so it goes in my list.
Yeah.
You're not going to have like Johan in every list.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Who else gets?
Killjoy gets banned
Killjoy.
around quite a lot.
Who's that fella with the crocodile? Cool.
McTavish? Yeah.
McTavish.
Well
There we
done,
go.
Aaron, for getting that first.
Nice. That's because he's Bayou, not Gremlins.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking Hans was another often included.
Yeah.
Hans used to get included a lot. I think
So-
he's out of favour now, but that's because the game's grown beyond
got
him.
more
I
range.
think
Yeah.
because of whoever you pick as your master, they're going to start limiting the pool. I think that's actually going to address bloat in its own way.
Yeah. There are
Yeah.
versatile models as well, which sit within a faction and can be hired by
Yeah.
any of the different masters.
Fingers crossed for Joss.
Yes.
That's versatile with a capital V.
Yes, as in
That will be
versatile, the keyword.
That will be
yeah.
their keyword. And that's something of note, is that they've stated that very few models will have multiple keywords.
Yes.
The other way around that, to include other things, is to not just have one master.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is where it looks like it might be getting a bit more complicated because masters now cost soul stones. So you used to just get your master for free. Now your master costs soul stones. How many soul stones does Rasputina cost?
14.
14. That's a lot of soul stones.
More maths.
Also, I would like to point out, I did that without looking at anything, because I looked at the thing once today.
I knew you would. That's why I did it, but I didn't want us to, talk about it. Which there doesn't appear to also be a cache. Not a cache, Australia. Bad.
Yeah.
A cache.
Fuck off.
In the future, it's going to be cache.
Yeah, possibly.
It's not.
I will,
I'm with you on that.
all I
No
get,
quiche for any master.
I just get like a Monty Python thing. I will buy this pallet for an amount of cash. That's what I get. Yeah.
One cheese and tomato, and
My hovercraft is full of ears.
It is. I have seen it. There doesn't appear to be a cache there, but you could have masters that cost different amounts, leaving you more soul stones to leave over or similar.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing, yeah. The cash system is a way of balancing masters because we all know Von Schill is OP as fuck. That's why he only gets one. Fucking Hulk Hogan.
Well, he's more not McTavish
He's gonna be-
now, McCabe.
You know he's going to be the most
We'll get to
expensive
that.
master in the new edition with no buffs.
Yes. Yeah. He's going to cost 100 soul stones, and a typical
because.
game's going to be 50.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they'll give him one upgrade that didn't do anything good.
Yeah. So we've got this kind of agreement that everything is going to be carted over and be playable. However, this is where things get slightly tricky. 4 masters are no longer on the list of masters for each faction that has been provided, have been removed from the game, but will have rules provided in a special pack called Dead Man's Hand. Now, how this will work regarding their thematic models, I don't know. I've got some guesses for a couple of them. There's one that really stands out as being like, what the fuck are you going to do with them then? Which we'll get to in a minute. But the 4 masters that will be missing will be Nicodem, Kolodi, Ramos, and Lilith. We now go over to our fluff correspondent, Rob, for explanations as to why this is so.
Okay, right. So who do you want me to start with?
Anyone you like. Whichever one makes you the least sad.
Okay,
And then we'll.
You do Lilith, I'll do Ramos.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Nicodem.
Okay.
He did.
He did. Lady Justice justiced him. He has been justicized.
I think the community has been calling for this for a while now.
Well, he's just.
It's the ultimate nerf.
Yes. The word is cuddle. He has been cuddled to death.
No longer playing tournaments.
Yes.
Well, he can. He's no longer automatically available in tournaments,
Unless you're playing.
Yeah.
but the tournament organizer can allow the Dead Man's Hand pack, which will include these masters and rules for them.
And possibly their models as well, depending on what we think. Now, this sounds okay to start
Just
with.
imagining half a Nicodem crawling across the floor.
It has been brought up that will Nicodem count as an undead model and now be summonable?
Oh, my brain hurts.
Fluff-wise, Mortimer, his henchman,
Yeah.
who otherwise we don't know what will become of either,
Yeah.
was last seen setting himself up with a manse of his very own in the quarantine district with Nicodem's soul in his pocket.
Ah.
So for a Reza, that don't mean squat.
Yeah.
Yes. So they might be leaving things open to bringing these masters back in at a later date.
I was just about to say something along those lines.
Yeah.
We're going to get epic masters.
Maybe?
No, but
Avatars, it's worth saying, have been... They're not doing them.
That's one of the things I was going to bring out. They are not bringing them back in the game. They are gone.
Yeah, avatars are gone.
Good.
These 4 are written out of the story, at least for now.
Yes. Yeah.
Collodi's another quick one because nobody knows. They specifically said it hasn't been revealed yet.
Someone left him on a shelf somewhere.
Well,
They're just really stringing us along, aren't they?
boom, boom. That's twice you've used that. Well,
I know. Well, I used it earlier, but not on the podcast.
Yes.
The world deserves my humour.
No. Well, actually, at the moment, yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. It's a trash fire, and it deserves trash.
And part of me wonders whether there's something they're going to bring in alongside. I mean, there's the four-armedness of him. Was he actually something linked to Nightmare that we don't know about? He was extant from the first breach, if memory serves. There's Hinamatsu, his alternate henchman, who's about to be released.
Yeah.
In theory, if they've got back up to speed.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
And I've also seen people speculating that the new Madam of the Key and Gong, the Ten Thunders' new master, might be Hinamatsu.
Okay. Yeah, we'll come to the shake-up of masters in a bit. I think if they stay in the form that they're in, I don't. Even if they're competitive and people allow them to start with, by the time we get, like, let's say, the first or second source book for Malifaux 3rd edition, they're going to be trash. Because they won't have received any additional models with their keywords, probably, because why would you? And they're not going to have been kept up to date with terms of sort of errata and things because they're not a part of the game as it is. Mm-hmm. So that feels a bit like a bridging exercise to keep people less annoyed.
Well, the specified, their stated words are that the Dead Man's Hand pack will include the cards for these 4 masters and their totems.
Okay.
Which says nothing about henchmen.
Yeah, so are people getting reassigned and jiggled about?
Yeah. Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of keywords, Lilith would get Nephilim.
Yes.
I presume, or Black Blood, depending on what they choose for the keyword.
There is a built-in replacement for, which we'll come to in a minute.
Also the same as Ramos, because he'll be MNSU.
Yeah, and that can go.
Hoffman may get.
Yeah. And Nakima will probably more than likely replace Lilith. So Ramos, what happened to Ramos?
He's in prison.
Yes. Where?
And half armless.
Yep. Yeah, his mechanical arm's gone.
He's in Vienna.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, Vienna!
Centre of Guild HQ, Earthside, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
they kind of just went, nope, done with you now. Fuck off.
Why haven't they set him on fire?
Because then he wouldn't be available for the other side. Well, he would be available for the other side, but as Cult of the Burning Man.
Yes. So Ramos is in prison, and Lilith is... Oh, something weird's happened to her that I don't quite understand.
Lilith has been trapped in Nithera, which is where Titania escaped from.
Okay, so they've done a swapsy.
Yeah, well, ish. She was thrown into there because she was bleeding out, and it was the way to preserve her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Zoraida was going to heal her with soul stones, except the Dreamer has stolen all of Zoraida's soul stones when she wasn't looking, because apparently he's just allowed to wander around and no one's realised what he's up to.
Naughty Dreamer.
And as Lord Chompy dropped Lilith into Nithera, he revealed that. Well, it revealed that it is Nightmare. So Lilith got a sort of plot point, and she can't tell anyone.
Yeah,
she tried to, but she was screaming on the way down at the same time, so it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. So we've got these kind of thematic crews built around keywords. Are we looking at factionalisation of factions then?
to an extent.
Is that good?
Yes.
Why?
Because I like running thematic lists. Now, I know you're all going to go, but you never do. No, because generally they're not competitive. They're not. You can go, well, technically that should be in there, but this is better.
Yeah.
I could take an ice golem, but for the same points, I can take a Joss.
Yeah.
Never going to take the ice golem.
You do take thematic crews. You grab every academic you can possibly lay your hands on and run Sandeep.
Twice?
Oh,
Well, that's a lot.
that's how many times we've played, really, in 2018.
But
I think I've played over a dozen games, but I was getting secret games in without you guys in the dead of night with our resident McMorning.
But
and running off with your new D&D crew
Sticky.
as well.
I have. I've just abandoned you guys.
I do like
Get
that
over
they
it.
are actually offering a proper in-game reward for running thematic crews.
Yeah.
And I think it will improve the variety of things you see on the table.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's an in-game incentive to run thematic crews, not really a reward.
yeah.
Such
The
as
reward
we've
is
seen.
it costs you less points.
Yeah, it
theoretically.
depends.
That's to me an incentive.
Yeah, it depends what the tax is, and how many models get versatile, and it's very hard to balance a game with 49 masters, 49 potential leaders.
Easier
we looking
when
at
they
back-
have a smaller subset of things they can draw
Yes.
Yeah, but there still are a lot of things if they're still going to be available, but at a different points cost.
from. I hope for a
It's-
2 or 3 point increase myself.
It depends on
Yeah.
what they choose to do with the keywords.
Yeah.
For instance, our Mr. Lynch,
Yeah,
who will no longer be working for the Neverborn,
No.
given
No.
the way Titania's going. But if his keyword is darkened, he still gets a lot of choice from the Neverborn faction.
yes,
Potentially,
potentially.
So
yeah.
how much will faction really matter?
Yes, so you
Yeah.
can still have cross-hiring between factions based on keyword.
Hopefully,
Like Pandora
yeah.
has woes. She gets the journalists from Nellie's crew. Which is the only reason I got Nellie, because I don't like elephants. Yeah, one-person joke. That includes everyone listening
That
at
was a
home.
bit of laugh to that there, though.
Do we have
Cheers,
a
buddy.
trump?
I'll take it.
But I'm wondering if there's another reward for having a thematic crew, because the way some of the stuff that we'll come to later when we talk about our masters is it implies that having crew with the same keyword might give them another ability they share between them.
No, keep going. That's next.
Yes.
Oh, we're going into that next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does.
It could just be, generic. You only need one model and it'll share the master's ability with the master of some form.
Yeah.
One of the they've said the thematic models have.
Yeah, it's just group one ability. So
Yeah.
if they're powerful enough, you're going to want to keep it thematic so they all get that.
Yeah, they seem to be synergizing those thematic models with their masters more.
Yes.
Lynch again, rig the deck,
Yes.
which apparently every one of his thematic models is going to get.
Yay! Yeah.
Take like the top few cards off your deck, swap them for cards in your control hand.
It's very exciting.
So much
Meanwhile,
mess you could do with that.
what does the Riders lot get? Pungent aroma.
That sounded painful, Rob.
Oh, it was only a headbutt. Just as I was getting
Knock
excited
Joe
about
out
Zoraida
now.
being powerful again.
What does pungent aroma do?
They haven't said, but it basically comes down to them smelling because they're from the bayou.
It sounds like it gives them debuffs, stops them from using some of their zero abilities and things like that from what I read.
So that could be really good.
Yes, potentially.
There are no zero abilities.
No, I can't
But
remember.
there
what
is
it's
the
called now.
equivalent.
Yes.
There's bonus
That's
actions,
it.
yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So what we've seen alongside that then is this tying together of models from the same crew, the same theme, the same master, if you like, with these sort of shared abilities. And alongside that, there's been a simplification of the number of conditions in the game, because there are a lot of different conditions that can be afflicted upon your own and other models, down to 11, and then a lot of the tricky conditions. So the one that springs to mind immediately is, for instance, Blight for Hamlin. You now generate Blight tokens rather than Blight +1, +2, +3. So tokens appear to be a thing. There are no such thing as tokens in Second Ed.
They might just be... Well, to me, it kind of sounds like the same thing.
It does.
Apart from you're not going to be interacting with the two things in the same way. So something that can get rid of a condition won't get rid of a token, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's another probably a balance thing going into it.
Yeah.
I think reducing conditions is probably going to be easier than reducing tokens.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see. I'm not necessarily looking forward to having to keep a shitload of tokens on the board, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, I mostly track conditions through tokens on the board, like burning, poison anyway.
But you can't do that now. Or it's harder to do because you've got tokens that will be there.
It might potentially cause confusion. I don't think it necessarily would, as long as things are clear, but it could, yes.
From what I saw in a brief bit of research from the switch from 1.5 to 2, one of the big changes in 2 was to remove the number of tokens and counters on the board.
Right.
Yeah.
This might be a move backwards in that regard.
Possibly,
trying to find a middle ground between the two.
It sounds like you're going to have, overall, a lot less things to track.
Yeah.
Your thematic crew will probably generate one set of tokens and the usual 11 conditions, and it standardizes a lot of conditions that are kind of slightly different in different places or given in different ways. You kind of got, these are the 11 to remember, and you can get a sheet to look at during the game that has them all on. So it kind of, that's easy. You've got a cheat sheet. If you're new, you know, you've distracted someone. It does this. It's on the sheet. Everyone that distracts someone distracts them in exactly the same way all the time. So that seems like maybe a...
we know there are going to be pass tokens as well.
Yes.
We don't know quite how those are going to work, but there is mention of masters who generate pass tokens.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
So there must be some way to do it for every master.
Yeah.
Pandora can pay them. She spends pass tokens in order to basically use insight and misery the like to control the enemy's activations.
Yeah, and the Templar's ones that we'll come to in a bit once I remember the name of it. They're just a similar thing.
And Perdita can allow people to discard pass tokens to become focused, effectively allowing them to sacrifice activation control for pure damage. There you go. It's exciting. I like Perdita. She murders things very well.
Yeah, she does.
She's quite good. Putting it together.
Yes. So that's all kind of changing. I reserve judgment until I see it. It doesn't. It neither bothers me nor excites me. It's like a thing that's happening to me.
It does seem like it's either going to be really useful and streamline things, make it a lot easier to introduce new players to the game particularly, but also potentially might make the whole board.
Do you know what they have taken out? There's a condition, doesn't seem to exist. Paralyze.
Yeah.
Paralyze has gone. Now, as a Pandora player of some dubious moral worth, I shall mourn this. But actually, it's one of the things that leads to a lot of negative negative play experiences, because you've built and painted and paid the cost for a shiny thing, and then you don't get to use the shiny thing. That's really annoying.
Yes, it is.
Unless you're Rasputin free.
Is that time when I put your ice golem in the ground for 4 turns in a row?
Yep.
It was the best day. Thank you, Hannah. So that's a thing that's happening. Any more words on that? That kind of that thing before we get into the masters. I've got a big list.
Is there any conditions? Because we can see a few of them.
Burning is hugely different.
Yes, burning has changed, so it's now 1 point per turn.
1 point per turn, and it ticks up.
Yeah, so it goes
knocked
up.
down.
You
Yeah.
have to take an action to lower it, so you put yourself out.
You can
Which
still
was-
take an action to put yourself out,
yeah.
but it's different.
But is that an action to lower it? By
You lower
one?
the condition by a flip of 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So it's you are going to have to get a load of people around to go, oh, yeah, put it down.
Yeah.
Which is going to be kind of cool.
What that says to me is there'll be the thing of you are burning 3. Yes, you're only taking 1 point of damage, but someone like Sonya will go take 3 points of damage and lose it, or similar. So it will tick up, and that will have consequences for some models and some. And others, it will just be you're kind of on fire, and it's harder to stop being on fire the longer you are on fire, just like in real life.
So adversary is new, shielded is new, staggered is new, injured is new.
Injured is interesting.
Shielded is the new defensive, isn't it?
Yes, I think.
No, reduced. Shielded is kind of like armor that goes away.
Okay.
So you reduce damage suffered by X, depending on your shielded condition. It says by +1, so yeah. To a minimum of 0. Each time you reduce the condition, you reduce its value by 1, and it ends in the end phase.
Okay, so it's probably a bit like defensive.
Yeah, defensive isn't in the list, so it's a new way. It works differently.
Yeah, it has a different name, but works similar. Did you say it specifically says this ends in the end phase?
Yes.
Because it used to be everything ended in the end phase,
During the end phase, end this condition.
Yeah, unless it said otherwise. So now
this specifies when they end.
Yes.
And there's
that's my point.
Yeah, no, but it does for everything.
Yeah. So that's a change.
Which
Apart
is
from
a
burning doesn't say it
because it doesn't end.
Yes.
Yeah, and it ticks up instead. Yeah, cool.
So it seems
So
to be doing it a different way
that's
around.
slightly different. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's as much as we really know about the rules. It doesn't sound like it's going to be drastically different. They've not said there's nothing on there that says roll 3d6 and add 4.
Yeah,
there's nothing there that says if you're 48 inches away from the enemy. You know, we're going to have a similar game.
Yeah.
Less
models apparently.
Yeah, they reckon that the average crew size will come down slightly.
Which I like as well.
There's also one other potential rule change, which might be worth coming on to when we discuss the cards.
Okay, go for it.
Well, there was something we can see. We've been able to see a couple of the cards layouts. There was a particular thing that was missing off them.
Ah, yes, of course. Well done, Aaron.
Yes.
Well remembered.
The charge.
Hello, Brian from the future here. Since we recorded this podcast, it's come to our attention via Gen Con that charging is now moving your distance, your move distance, and attacking once. So I've cut out a lot of speculative waffle here and moved us on. Cool. Bye! Looking at the Masters then and how that's changed, we're missing, obviously, just to recap, Lilith, Kolodi, Ramos and Nicodem. Now, Rob, this change affects you the most because you play Lilith. Do you have Kolodi?
No. Kolodi was my next buy.
Yeah.
And still might be.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have very nearly every height 1 Neverborn model, and I kind of want to run an army of height 1.
Oh, fucking
Is Kolodi height 1?
No, but his marionettes are. So that would be an extra 4 models. I know strictly the Dreamer remains height 1 at the moment.
The Dreamer's height 1, yes.
Yeah. So the Dreamer, Candy, my half dozen Terratots and everything else, and just go, how much height 1 can I squeeze in? My wicked dolls.
Do we think that Dreamer will become height 2?
Yes.
He's grown up.
Yeah.
He's now a
apparently.
teenager.
Oh,
So
so he should be height 2 now.
unless he's a little person.
Don't think so.
I think they.
He might be like
Your face. He could just be small. Yeah. No, he'll probably be height 2. He might.
He's blonde and blue-eyed.
Yeah, he's probably going to be some kind of. Maybe he's like Baby Hitler or something. Although Baby Hitler would be small and dark-haired like myself.
And that mustache as well.
Yeah, but I know Lilith was like your favourite master. You've got all of the Nephilim models.
Lilith was my first and favourite model.
Yes.
I don't just have every Neverborn Nephilim, because I don't have Hayrethin from the Resurrectionists.
Yeah.
But I did pick up Perdita just to complete my Neverborn collection because I wanted her totem.
Yeah.
I also have 2 mature Nephilim, 4 young Nephilim, and as I said, 6 Terratots.
Yes.
I'm not lacking
So you must be really excited that you'll be able to use less models.
With a shiny new master.
Yes.
I will be excited by Nekima if we get a proper model for her.
The alt Nekima is nice.
No.
Okay.
I disagree. The alt Nekima is wearing a leather jacket, jeans, and charging in with the sword. Quite apart from the fact her horns are now oversized for her skull, Nekima wouldn't wear human stuff and take a human form. That's something Lilith did, and she sacrificed some of her power to do so.
Okay.
Nekima was utterly against that.
Maybe she's changed, man.
Maybe, but
she sacrificed her morals for that extra AP.
I'd do the same. If I could get half as much stuff done again each day, I'd
wank an extra time.
I'd do that anyway. I'd drown a puppy.
With your spare time or as a cost?
Both, because I'm sure once you've done it, you probably get the taste for it.
You reckon?
Well,
if it's a zombie chihuahua, yes.
Serial killers start with animals and then work up, don't they? I'm sure.
Zombies.
Yes, put enough stones in so they can't get back up.
So they're not drowning, though, are they? You're imprisoning them underwater, but I don't think they're drowned.
Imagine a much more efficient Jeffrey Dahmer. The chaos that could be caused.
Anyway, yes. So I have... Lilith was both my first and my favourite master, not counting Pandora, whom I borrowed off you for that first game.
It doesn't count.
Exactly.
She's my favourite, but I don't use her very often because people spit at my face.
Yeah. So
that's nothing to do with the model.
No, I bought Nekima and... Oh, not Nekima. I bought Lilith and Hoffman that first trip.
Yeah.
To the gaming store. And didn't build Hoffman for about 6 months because I was enjoying playing Lilith and the Neverborn.
Yeah.
And all the rest. So, yes, it bugs me. But then, having read the fluff stories in Broken Promises, in which Lilith is then locked in Nithra, that kind of made me sit back going, I don't want to play Lilith now.
Yeah.
She's not in the story. It won't feel right. Okay, right, let's finish resculpting Zoraida's face and get back into this.
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Okay.
Pretty much, having read Broken Promises, that's the last time I played.
Yes. Yeah.
After that kind of distanced me. So, story-wise, I like that she will be out.
Yeah. From
the game perspective, I like even more that they're doing the Dead Man's Hand, and they've specifically said these will be balanced.
Yeah. I have...
Errata and everything might change that, but at least at release, they will be balanced and competitive, ready for playing tournaments. So it is purely down to the tournament organiser what they want to do.
Yeah. I think it's going to be... If you've just bought one of these masters and you're playing it and you're excited, you want to be a tournament player. I mean... It's rare that a very good tournament player is only going to have one master or two masters in the sense of Lilith and Kolodi. But I think it would be annoying if you just bought in and got these models. All I'd say is that you were definitely going to buy a bunch of other stuff anyway.
Yeah. You've got a year with them at least.
Yeah.
And they'll still be playable. Like, again, it's only if you are hardcore into the tournament scene, and
at which point you're going to be buying everything possible anyway.
Because you're probably going to buy more competitive stuff.
Yeah.
Also, not saying they're not going to be competitive, but you'll be buying the stuff that is competitive.
We lost Lilith, who was okay. Ramos, that was okay. Kolodi, who was
quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who else did we lose?
Nicodem, who's really good.
Was ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you bought Nicodem because he's OP and you wanted to go to tournaments that way, the rest of them, it's not that big a loss.
Well, Lilith was apparently a very popular master for the Neverborn tournament scene.
She's very easy to use. Yes. She's a good new player master because... I think she's quite striking visually with her giant sword. She's got quite a cool themed crew. It's all these weird little monster things. And she's quite simple to use because she hits things.
But she's got the other... most of that with Nekima.
Yes.
My last game at the tournament, I didn't hit anything with Lilith at all.
Yeah.
I was just doing the shadow switching move. And I dragged my opponent's Peacekeeper away from all the rest of the Hoffman crew, so it had no support, and then jumped it with a mature Nephilim.
Nom.
Yes, in one round.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll have all the victory points.
I can see though why this might be something that puts people off, and I wouldn't discount that. But we do have a variety of different masters and things available now. So I'm going to go through them, and then we'll discuss the ones that jump out to us the most.
I was just going to look and have a glancing down your list. I know at least one person who's just decided to buy their second guild master.
Yeah,
because it went well with models they've already got, and picked up McCabe.
Yes, so
and they are now rather pissed off.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as we go through, because some models have changed faction, become dual faction, or lost one of their factions. Yeah. So just going through them in the order that I found them, we have a brand new master in Captain Dashel. He's been officially upgraded and will become a summoner of guards. Which sounds interesting. He's already
guards.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, he's already got an upgrade that lets him do that. He can summon a guild guard. He's now becoming. That's going to be his.
Now
his
he can summon
job.
two.
Well, no, he's now going to be. He's going to be the guild summoning.
Yes.
Master.
Yeah.
Also, necessitates a new Lucius kit.
Yes.
Or at least a new model in Lucius's current kit.
So that'd be quite. Because Lucius hasn't changed, or he's still where he used to be.
They're also talking about new models.
Yeah, yes. I think
for things.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting Lucius to get a new, and that quite excites me. And I might pick up the current one because I want two Lucius kits.
So you can have one for guild and one for
I can have one painted normally to look realistic for the tabletop, or I have an alternate set where they're all painted gold and stood on little mahogany bases. Fake mahogany bases, so it looks like wealthy chess pieces.
Okay.
Potentially turn up at a tournament dressed as Lucius and then play with his golden chess tokens from his strategy board.
All right, nerd.
That's interesting. I would remember that game against the crazy man.
I might not win, but I'd be memorable.
But yeah, I suppose at this point, yes, they will be re-releasing new models, but that will be over time. New boxes and such like. I think there are some, like you say, that are going to be
sooner than others.
Yeah, and I would expect, especially because Neverborn have taken a bit of a hit. They've lost two masters. Maybe Lucius with a Neverborn themed crew, maybe with the doppelganger and some other bits like that in their mimics and such like. Hoffman is now dual guild and Arcanist.
So Arcanists have finally got a second dual faction master.
Yeah,
they were the only faction without two.
Yeah, we have yeah, he's done that, and we don't like Hoffman. I think
no, couldn't give a shit.
But he might be good in the new edition because everything could change.
He's taking Ramos's place,
yes.
I should think, play-wise.
And he'll have all of the constructs and stuff that Ramos had.
Don't like Hoffman, don't give a shit.
I like Hoffman, I will continue to feel.
Which is fair.
You'll continue to dispense species. We have Cornelius Bass, who is a frontier hunter guild master who can set up further onto the board than other people and create dust clouds. That sounds really interesting. That's something we haven't had before in the game.
He'll deal with the snipers, Joe. Come on, you want him.
No, guild rubbish.
And to balance out this festival of gilding, that sounds very different. Gilding, not gelding. We have McMorning, who has now lost his job with the guild and is now pure Reza. He
got outed in Broken Promises.
Yeah.
In a fight against the Domodores de Cadavres.
Ooh, say that again.
I could say the way McMorning did it and called them cadaver dromedaries.
But
it's the Domodores de Cadavres.
I
would love a zombie giraffe, but I just like giraffes.
They've not got models for those yet, have they?
Yes.
They have?
They're on the way.
They should have
I've seen them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I've seen the renders as well as the artwork, and
they're very pretty. I've never seen McMorning being used in Guild, although we have quite a small local scene. Apparently, that's quite standard. He's nearly always used in Rezzers, so it doesn't really
I picked him
matter.
Up back in December.
Yeah,
with the intention of using him as my second Guild master, because everyone knows if I say Guild, I've got Hoffman.
Yes.
I went, haha, I will throw you, and then went. There's not a lot in Guild that really works with him.
No.
And his his skilled upgrade allows him to take his entire starter box.
Yeah.
And that's about it that's useful.
Yeah. The most likely to be crossed over into Harry Potter goes to Albus von Stuck, who is the head of the University of Transmortis, a resurrectionist master who...
He's a really lazy wizard by the sounds of it.
Yes, he gets his students to do his summoning for him, which sounds either really interesting or fiddly as fuck. I can't decide, but it's different again. It's different. It's not something...
It will be like Sandeep's Beacon ability, where they will be able to use his abilities.
Yes. We have the glorious Jackdaw,
who I am so excited about.
Yes, so I've got Jackdaw. I played him before as an Outcast master, hiring in lots of stuff from Rezzers. He's now Outcast and Rezzers, so you can do things with him in either faction. That's kind of fine. It's kind of to be expected.
They've also
6 wounds.
Yeah.
6 wounds.
6 wounds, yeah.
But now this is the bit that has me excited. He can discard a card to reduce damage to 0.
Yes. So it becomes really hard to kill until he's not.
How good is that?
Yeah. We have Nakima, who is essentially the new Lilith, both in story and probably in game. Similar style. She hits things with a big sword. Yes. We have Euripides, who is a new Neverborn master, who is something to do with the giants and is coming down from a mountain.
More than likely a Cyclops.
Yes.
One of the ones that carried on.
And we'll come to him in a second. Oh, no.
No. I'm just hoping that with all this keyword thing, that my whinging that I've not been able to use the really nice Frozen Heart Cyclops models, not that Frozen Heart's a thing anymore.
Yeah.
With Rasputina.
Yeah.
That might be it's just going to cost me more money.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Or there might be not as much of a crossover, and therefore that will save you money that you wouldn't have spent anyway. I like this. Euripides being the ancient Greek tragedy playwright who wrote Cyclops.
Oh, okay.
The very, very old... is it a satire play? It's the only one in existence. I brushed up, but I did know this 5 years ago when I was at university. He also depicted mythical heroes as normal. It's like normal people, and got in trouble
His
for
entire play's about Hercules and washing up.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Odysseus had to deal with the Cyclops that was the son of Poseidon.
Yeah.
It's basically like Greek Alan Moore writing Watchmen, just over and over and over again.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
But we've got another literary reference there, which I quite like.
Thus taking Collodi's place.
Yes, yeah. Because as you said, Carlo
Collodi, who wrote a story about puppets coming to life.
Yeah. Isn't it Pinocchio he wrote?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
We've got Marcus, who is now both Arcanist and Neverborn, and was actually hiring quite a few beasts. Yes, yeah. They've only got 2.
They only have 1.
They only have 1. Now they have 3, just to confuse us.
Marcus has made a pact with Titania, which is in character.
Yeah.
I'd say.
That's super awesome.
Yeah. So that's quite cool.
I did very nearly buy Marcus as my 3rd ever master, and now I'm going, I can do.
Yeah. We've got Zip, who has come together with the Outcasts like a zip. Hey, that's for you, Joe. So he's both Outcasts and Bayou.
Yes.
Not Gremlins. The Gremlins are not a faction anymore. It's the Bayou faction.
I'm kind of happy about that.
Yes. It opens up some space for non-gremlin things to be
a
faction more.
It just slightly takes away from them being a thing. I'm happy about that.
But all their masters are gremlins still. One of them's a...
Zoraida's not a gremlin.
Yeah.
She's
why it's not gremlins, it's the Bayou.
Yeah, she's a potato with a big nose.
McTavish and the others.
Yeah. So just a naming thing, but I think it just opens them up a little bit more to more.
Yeah,
stuff.
It makes more sense even just with the models they've got at the moment. So they had enough in there to go, well, they're not gremlins.
I think we might now find Silurids being within the Bayou faction.
Yeah, a lot of the swamp stuff might shift, or it might be Zoraida being able to hire both. You know,
and it wouldn't surprise me Woldgeist moving to Bayou as well.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yep. The 10 Thunders then.
Oh, you've missed one.
Who have I missed?
Missed an outcast.
Have I?
Tara.
Oh, okay.
Tara is no longer Reza outcast. She is now just an outcast. Her and Jackdaw have swapped because she wrote an essay, apparently. And then, genuinely, the start of their thing saying, citing thematic reasons, Tara has split from the Resurrectionists. So, as far as I can tell, she's written an essay and they didn't like it.
She may have written a footnote.
Yeah.
But she definitely... Did she write that in Harvard referencing? Or
Maybe that's where it went wrong.
Yeah.
It was, Albus didn't like it.
Yeah.
She took her off her course.
That's because it wasn't an obituary.
You two play Tara.
Yes.
How does that affect you?
Not a lot.
No.
Wasn't planning on playing an outcast.
No, fair enough.
I was halfway through building an all-duster wearing Resurrectionist crew with Tara in the lead.
Okay.
So that I could do Death Marshals, the Forgotten Marshal, the Dead Outlaws and stuff, just purely for the aesthetics, because I thought, it's Wild West, a bunch of people in dusters with pistols, that would at least be a decent use.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a very effective list.
No.
Aaron looks so surprised at that. Me and my sub-optimisation.
Have you ever written an optimised list, Rob?
I've borrowed a couple.
I remember us playing Pathfinder and you sinking quite a lot of points into being really good at sailing, and we never went on a boat.
I put 2 ranks in.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
One of them was a character creation. Sorcerers can only buy so much.
Yes, they only get 2 points a level.
So here's suboptimal. You increased it during the game. We never went near a boat.
Yes. We have Youku Hamasaki, who is a 10 Thunder master who owns a brothel. That's a thing.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
A mysterious brothel in the heart of the little kingdom is what it's described as.
Yes.
And may or may not be Hinamatsu.
Yes. So we've got her.
Yeah, she's got some interesting stuff going on with her, so she might be interesting.
What's interesting about her?
Well, she's hand manipulation, which is always fun.
Yeah. Mrs. Palm, 5 lovely daughters.
Yeah. Playing around with the Soul Stone. She seems to be doing so. This is one master that's doing something with the past tokens.
Yeah.
So she's generating them, yeah. So
okay.
This is where some of that weirdness comes in. But yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
Widespread action to the widespread access to the lure action as well with her thematic.
Yeah. Just Malifaux has a kind of history with prostitutes and luring and such like that.
There is one interesting thing about we talked about the leverage ability, which the crew gets as well.
Yeah.
Grants them bonus to their draws for each revealed enemy scheme.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did spot that. Yeah. So there will be revealing schemes again, because that's gone out the window.
Or
it's just they score.
When you score, that scheme's then revealed. You know what they're doing. So
they become more powerful.
I'm really hoping there isn't. You can reveal this scheme to.
No, I hope that goes
away. A good
move
away from that.
Yes.
Although potentially that crew might be able to get them to divulge information to reveal the schemes before they ruin them. So there's no actual normal game mechanic, but it's like a bonus thing for that crew particularly. So that crew knows more about what's happening.
Oh, the Gaining Grounds one where you had to gather evidence.
Yeah.
Through an interact action.
Yeah. So there'll be things with that. We don't know at the moment.
Could be interesting.
I'm more with Joe on the thing of not revealing the schemes at the start of the game because I always forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm an idiot and I can't follow a flowchart. And then the 10 Thunders then, on top of that, have claimed 3 masters solely for their own who used to be dual faction. They don't actually have that many dual faction masters anymore. So they have stolen Lynch, who's fallen out with the Neverborn. They've stolen McCabe, who's got fired from the guild. And they've kept Brewmaster to themselves for reasons.
No, Brewmaster.
Oh, no.
Lost Brewmaster.
I put 10 because I did that last.
has dropped her.
That's the third one. Thank you, Aaron.
Because she's in charge now, so she obviously can only be.
Yeah. And then for the Bayou, Brewmaster is Bayou only. Rescued it.
The word mechanic and sort of sales basis for the 10 Thunders being all dual faction. Yeah. Not just because of the infiltration, but because they came out in a book on their own towards the end of 1.5.
Yeah.
It was their way of going, you don't going to have to wait for all the 10 Thunders models to drop. Here you can use some of the stuff from other factions.
Yeah. I don't really like the 10 Thunders. I have quite a few bits for the 10 Thunders because of all the dual faction stuff they do. But I don't like that Chinese, Japanese feel to them. Doesn't do anything for me. I don't particularly like the models. I don't like it as I just don't enjoy it.
I'm far happier with them than I am with the punk zombies wielding katanas.
Oh, I like that, but that's because
there's too
weird,
much thematic dissonance.
That's Weird West to me, which Malifaux is closer to than Shogun Bushido stuff.
But the Shogun Bushido stuff, I mean, they're talking about it being a worldwide thing. The time frame for that, there was a lot of Asian influence coming into America about that time frame.
Yeah,
because they were hiring lots of Chinese as slaves for the railroads, unfortunately.
It just reminds me of big fat neckbeards going, "I love Japan. It's so kawaii," and I don't like it.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think what they have been trying to keep it fitting in with what was happening in the world at the time.
Yeah, you don't have to like everything though. But what I've ended up with is 2 10 Thunders Masters because I like Lynch and I like McCabe. And I played them in their respective other factions. I don't think I've ever declared.
No.
I may have played one game with Lynch's 10 Thunders. Fine, but
you don't like it. I don't like the Gremlins.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think
I do like 10 Thunders, but the Gremlins are just too silly for me.
I think actually quite a lot of people. The Gremlins were odd. They're very silly in what is otherwise quite a dark game.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a case to be made for them.
Yeah.
For me, they're more dissonant than the 10 Thunders. I just really don't like. I can see why the 10 Thunders exist. I don't like their aesthetic. I know they fit the time period. I know they fit what's going on.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to justify not liking something.
Because I feel like I got told off.
Right.
No. I was just explaining that it did fit in thematically. I completely understand why you don't like that.
Whereas I quite like the idea of sending a load of pigs at people because it's silly. And sometimes I like silliness, but yeah, I've got 2 10 Thunders Masters. I also have those Terracotta Warriors because they go with Lucius and they're fucking dirty at the moment. So I've actually got a bit of 10 Thunders going on. It just means I now feel like I collect another faction accidentally.
So while we're discussing factions, I know it's not quite the same thing. Just as an interesting point, Yan Lo seems like he's changing a little bit.
Okay.
I actually read the design notes for Yan Lo, as it happens, yesterday.
Right. Okay.
And that's much closer to what they were trying to do with him originally, and then went, we can't make this work in 1.5, and they dropped it.
Yeah.
So his thematic crew has 2 types. You have Ancestors and Retainers.
That's already true in 2.
But Ancestors do cool things. They die. Their spirit goes into the Reliquary upgrade, which gets attached to the Retainers, and you can then call them back out by sacrificing the Retainer.
Yeah.
Seems like a very, very cool, lots of moving parts, but potentially awesome if you can get it to work kind of idea.
Well, that's
the delivery system.
That's Yan Lo at the moment, though, isn't it? He's really good if he gets lots of points.
Well, if he adds things onto himself.
The condition.
Things to himself in there.
So it's a similar idea. It's a similar idea, but hopefully a little bit easier.
Yeah, because it's now each time he activates, so rather than
he gets a thing,
something cycles up as you go through the game.
Yeah. So it's not snowball anymore; it just progressively increases.
So you've massively preempted the next section of the podcast because that was which of these, and we'll open it up to all the masters, have caught your eye in a positive or negative fashion. I'm really excited about Euripides, the first one. I really like the Cyclops models. I like that kind of thing. I like the idea of a really big hulking master who isn't summoned out of the anus of a tiny child.
Are you looking forward to his prophetic powers?
Yes, I like stuff that looks into the future. That's why I like Lynch and stuff. Yeah.
Look at the top card of your deck. No, I don't like it. Put it on the bottom.
If you don't like it, eat it.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that. I think it fits quite nicely. I never really got into the Nephilim side of the Neverborn simply because Rob, you've got all of that, and I collected other bits so that we had more variety and I wasn't just playing the same stuff against the same stuff. So it's another aspect of monstery stuff that I can get into fairly quickly.
Makes me think Zoraida will lose the crystal ball. I know they're cutting down on upgrades in general, but one of Zoraida's things was the crystal ball, being able to look at your opponent, the top of your opponent's deck or the top of your own deck.
Yeah.
And that would be stepping on Euripides' toes, I think. I mean, purely speculation on my part, and I don't know that crystal ball sees much use. I found a lot more fun out of Raven form and suddenly moving 50 inches across the board. I'll rearrange your scheme markers and make them mine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. So that's one that I'm into. Aaron?
Well, I did have a look at Misaki because, I've never
She's
had a go
your
at work.
first love, but it was a bitter love.
Glass candy.
It's kind of one of those love affairs where it was on again, off again, and secretly you hated each other, but you just didn't want to be lonely.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, she's potentially a little bit more survivable now, although I think the way of dealing with her is pretty much identical. At the start of each turn, she now drops some shadow markers near herself and then buries. You can't touch her until she activates.
Yeah.
So, although she's not necessarily going to get very far across the board, depending on where you can put, because it says near herself, when she does appear, she can go in and smash something, and if that's close to the last activation, she's got a bit more survivability going on then.
Yeah.
And her crew can do a lot of stuff with those shadow markers.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. And then her crew get fast if they kill things that haven't activated already. So sort of an inbuilt counter to what other people are going to be doing. Try to pass a turn and out-activate Misaki.
This is the crew that you were always outnumbered with, though.
Yes.
So hopefully that's changed slightly, because otherwise it'd be really difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
Pass tokens.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there could be a thing for it,
Giving themselves fast is interesting and kind of links into who I've picked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll jump across.
We'll
jump across to you then, Rob.
Right. Tara. Tara's crew can now almost all be summoned.
Okay.
But they enter play buried. And the only way to unbury them is to take the fast condition off of another model.
Okay.
End another model's fast condition in order to unbury next to them. That's how they enter play.
Okay.
Currently, you can only have one friendly model buried, I think, at a time, unless you start with them buried at the start of the game.
One enemy.
I'm getting that the wrong way around. One enemy, but any number of allies. That's how I used to drop Bet Noir and Killjoy at the same time.
Yeah. That was horrible.
Tara, at the moment at least, has an ability to give out fast to any number of models within a certain range of pulse, providing she applies it to at least one enemy model.
Yeah.
Whether she has to unbury next to, or her summons have to unbury by taking fast from a friendly model, or whether they can target an enemy model, we don't yet know.
Make a really shit matchup for Misaki if it's the other way around.
Yeah. But it was just a sort of. That's a very different way of doing the summoning.
Yes.
It makes Tara somewhat more complicated, and so she won't summon as much, I don't think.
While we're talking about summoning, when I was chatting earlier in the week about what people want to see from 3rd edition, which is kind of the last bit where we speculate, but we're kind of on summoning. I feel a lot of the problems with the game at the moment revolve around summoners. The things that are getting cuddled are the things that summon. Nicodem, Sandeep have had problems with that. I thought that summoning needed to be controlled in some way. There actually seems to be a lot more summoners kicking about, but we don't know the exact specifics of how that works and what resources need to be sacrificed and similar.
Because they all seem to be doing it slightly differently.
Yeah.
From a monetary point of view, it makes sense for Weird to have summoners because people get a wider range of models.
I've bought every single Nightmare to go with Dreamer, for instance. So
case in point.
Yeah.
Whereas I went, Lilu and Lilitu are Nightmares, Nephilim, and Woe. That ticks Woes and Nephilim for me, and then I'll probably have to go and get the Dreamer now.
Yes, yeah. So sometimes you end up the other way where you go, I've got all these models that could be summoned by this person. It means lets me use my collection. So it goes both ways. You're right in that it makes financial sense. Hopefully, though, they can balance it a bit better because I think it's massively unbalanced.
I'm hoping
as it is as a result of bloat, because there's when you increase the pool of models that can be summoned from, you start getting things that
I'm hoping that the prospect of new models or new sculpts for a lot of the existing models is going to be a way around the excess summoning. They'll have a new sort of money source in that.
Yes, rather than
quite possibly in selling tokens and counters and all the rest.
I'd hope if you bought a new master box, you'd get the tokens with it. That'd be cool if they need tokens.
Agreed.
Definitely a nice idea. Weird, please listen.
Guild Ball do it when you buy a Guild Ball team. I was going to say something.
Didn't you used to?
No, you didn't. Not when it started. What I'd say is I think that summoning will probably be restricted to models on your thematic list only, rather than going like Nicodem. Summon anything that is undead ever, and thus having a massive headache when it comes to balancing.
Yeah,
there's no way they could do summons outside of the keyword.
Yeah.
Because those models cost you extra to hire in.
Yeah, so what costs
to allow that, you're breaking the balance system already.
It becomes tricky, doesn't it? Yeah. So I'm hoping summoning is like my major bone of contention with Malifaux at the moment. And I ended up in a kind of, if I can't beat them, join them situation with Dreamer.
Yeah.
One summoner at least has lost the ability to summon.
Who's that?
Molly.
Molly can't summon?
Molly is no longer a summoner. She is an activation controller.
Can Kirai summon?
Yes.
Because
she is the main Reza summoner now, from what I can read on here.
Because I know our medical correspondent is very excited by the possibility of a Molly and Kirai best friends forever crew, where you've got both of them together, which sounds nice.
It works story-wise. They are allies and friends.
Yes.
However, Kirai's summoning now puts upgrades on the models that she summoned, and those upgrades damage Kirai when they activate.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't have too many summons at any given time, I would say.
Yeah.
There we go. What's changed is how she goes around summoning. When she summons one of her spirits, it now gains a vengeful spirit upgrade that damages Kirai each turn. In order to stay alive, Kirai will have to rely upon the Feast of Vengeance triggers possessed by her thematic crew, which will heal her each time they kill an enemy model.
That sounds really interesting.
So if you're not killing and releasing spirits and souls, you can't summon more in.
Yes.
Yeah, and will slowly die.
Yes.
Yeah. So if your opponent
if you
starts...
overdo it early on,
yeah,
and you can't get the kills in, you're going to lose your master.
Yeah.
So there is a gamble to it, which, makes it interesting.
Yeah. And it's a way of balancing summoning, potentially.
Yeah. Fluff-wise, I'm surprised to see her. Because she is one half of the Court of Two, the mercenary faction in the other side.
Yeah.
She and a doppelganger have created basically an antithesis to the guild.
Okay.
So provide mercenary models to the Cult of the Burning Man and the Gibbering Hordes.
Okay.
Suggests that other side is going to be set quite a bit later than the events in Malifaux, at least 3rd edition.
Yeah, I had no idea on the timeline for any of it, to be honest. The other side kind of disappeared into the ether after the Kickstarter for me, because it's taken so long.
There's been the campaign in which Nightmare and the Dreamer did particularly well, and Nightmare's trying to set up influence on the other side.
Yeah.
Mention of Kirai and Coco has been in there right since the very start. It was in there with the information from the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's the Dreamers growing up and getting older was triggered by essentially a blitz equivalent. The Gibbering Hordes have wrecked most of London. The Dreamer's dad has died.
Oh.
When he finally could sleep well enough to get back to Malifaux, he turned around to Chompy Bits and said, "The time for childish things is over."
Okay, I thought that the timeline had just advanced.
Yeah,
sometimes when people get older, they get taller and hairier.
Really?
One day for you, Aaron. One day.
You got the latter.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my voice to break.
Aren't we all?
That's mean. Okay, Joe, someone that you're interested or displeased with?
I'll stick with positive for now, as everyone else has. We can go into whinging in a minute.
You're such a follower.
There's a few that I'm interested by. Jackdaw we've mentioned, like that new Better Keep Some Cards. It seems like really cool.
Yep.
I'm really hoping that Colette gets better. And some of the stuff that she's got, it sounds like it's going to be really interesting, quite a tricksy crew to play. But I am probably the most excited for Marcus. Because Marcus is completely changing his playstyle with his new allegiance to the Neverborn.
Yes, I think this made me really interested, and I might pick him up because he's in Neverborn now.
He was my first master.
Yeah.
And now he is putting out mutation upgrades to make his stuff better. Seems like it could be really, really cool.
Yeah.
That mutant acolyte card that we've seen.
That's on the web pages. Yeah, it's one of his. It's
she's a mutated.
It's got wings and stuff going on. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was they've taken the performer model and the one that you could get as a limited one, and given it wings and a talony foot. But actually, it's not just a conversion like that. That would be far more lazy than we'd appear to be. It's a nice sculpt.
It also seems like he's going to be able to pass out quite a few upgrades, purely based on this.
It says
when it's got 2 or more.
Yeah.
Unless you're just stacking all of your eggs into the single giant harpy lady basket.
Yes.
But yeah, it seems awesome. I'm excited for him being a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because he pretty much, I always tend to play him in the same way: make things beasts, make them beat their mates up. Yeah, profit. So yeah, a change in that will be cool, and I'm quite excited for a shiny new model where he's looking maybe a little bit gribblier.
Yes, more bestial. I'm quite excited for the Vix again. Because one of the things it says, they've got some kind of kill something, move 4 inches. Yeah, that doesn't really bother me that much. It was on triggers anyway. But it says that the Vix are going to get the same stat card. Now, there are 2 ways this could play out. They could play out the shit way, where they're just the same. Or it could play out the amazing way, where they share a stat card and share hit points, and they're just the same thing, and it'd be amazing. I'm really excited if that's the thing, and they're just I don't know why, it just made me go ooh like that.
I'm expecting duplicate cards after one of them is a doppelganger.
Yes.
However, the tyrant theory could link them together to use the same card.
Yes, yeah. I just like the idea potentially of one of them gaining a condition and them both getting it, for instance, or activating them at the same time and doing some weird shit that way. That could be mad.
I like the idea of setting fire to one of them, the other one goes up. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. But there's a lot of space where that could be really interesting, or it could just be they've got the same card and it just simplifies the 2 of them, which actually I wouldn't mind either, because they're just very slightly different versions of the same thing, and it made it almost impossible for me to ever remember which one had what, so I was always checking their cards. But that interests me. I really, really hope they get some new models. They just got alternate models where they were dressed in Playboy costumes, which I think is the only thing they could have done that was worse than having them topless in leather jackets, because I like the models, I like the idea. I like the rules and I like the idea. I don't like the models for them, and I hope they get something that's not fucking stupid.
Yes.
End of rant.
Would you just like vests or something green stuffed onto them?
No, I'd like there to be an official model that I don't have to fuck around with that isn't ridiculous.
Okay, I won't offer them.
But that's because I'm very much a cake and eat it kind of guy. But yes, I haven't painted mine because of that reason, and I'm gonna do something to them. That sounds sexy and it's not meant to.
Oh, is that Escher heavy in her strap on again?
Oh dear. I've almost finished making this model. I just need to model a strap on to her gun. That's what I meant. A model a strap on to her gun, but no.
Yeah.
Oh, I nearly died when I said that. Right.
My turn.
Yeah, your turn, Aaron. Look at
Thanks,
you.
on. Well, guess where I'm going next?
Florida.
Buy a strap on.
Yes.
Ooh.
With the strap on?
No, I was going with the pig call.
Yes, I know. Yeah, so Ulix then.
Yes. Ulix. Is it Ulix or Ulix?
Ulix, I don't know.
It's
So I pronounce it
Ulix? Elix.
Ulix, because it's Ulysses.
Thank you.
Horlicks, yeah. Cool.
Horlicks, yeah, cool.
Brothy.
Yes. Yeah, the wording that he's now a full summoner is quite interesting.
That seems to be something they're throwing around a lot. The Dreamer got said.
It's a full summoner.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I was kind of hoping for a teenage summoner with a teenage dreamer with a baseball. Not a baseball, I can't talk. I was hoping, for a cricket bat dreamer, as was Tom.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'm still expecting that model-wise.
Yeah,
but
as a
still be
summoner.
a spirit, so actually won't have anything.
He also does appear to be like the lazy, angry posh kid. So I reckon he'll have that cricket bat and probably be quite good with it, but just be like, stand back, be like, you go do the thing.
Yeah.
You go do the thing. Fuck off. You go do the thing.
Yeah. So Ulix is a full summoner.
Yeah, it was full summoner. So it seems to be that the crew is now able to help out summoning pigs. So
There's a little bit of that already, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a
with
little bit.
The
There's a
sow birthing
when
suicidal piglets.
yes, on occasion, but it seems like it implies that more are able to bring little tiny piglets in, which their Ulix is now to grow into bigger piglets.
Yeah, growing your pigs more is a thing. Yeah, so
versus the currently two. In turn 2, you finish summoning 21 points worth of pig.
Yeah,
which is what he currently can do.
yes,
Yeah.
which is slightly ridiculous. So I'm curious to see what's going on with that. Considering like
Before this changes, at some point we'll have to have a summon off between Ramos and Ulix
just
and see who can
summon
get
as
the
much
most
as
things
possible.
onto the board.
Yeah.
Can I bring the Dreamer and have a 3-player? Rob, what summoners have you got?
Lilith?
Yeah, you bring Lilith.
Lilith and Nikima.
Yeah, we'll bring. We'll
Summon off,
have a
yeah.
4-player summon off and just sit in the corners summoning things.
Yeah.
And score no victory points.
Yes.
Because summoners can't score them now. Yeah. The grow, you might well be looking at a similar grow mechanic to Tots to
Yes.
young Nephilim to
Yeah.
mature.
Yeah.
Depending on what.
Maybe by eating something, killing it and eating it.
Yeah. Well, there was already a little thing about enemy scheme markers for. Can't remember which one it is now off the top of my head, but one of them is able to eat an enemy scheme marker and then use that to birth a piglet.
Okay,
So
cool.
potentially that might be
That was
around.
that was the Sal's built-in summoning.
I think so,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Versus Ulix using her as a 50 base.
Yeah, cool.
Then there's the pigs get stampede, which
Yeah.
you can see on the ability on one of the cards that's on the website at the moment.
Yeah.
Seems to be you charge in, even if you miss your attacks, you still do damage as long as you're in base contact with them.
You take a point of damage yourself, though, don't you?
One to you and enemy model.
Yeah, you both take a point of damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
just
is what
the fly lane's got it.
Though it says both. I missed that line.
Yes.
Oops.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's why you keep the slot haulers on hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're summoning loads of piglets and they
It
run
doesn't
off
matter,
and bang
yeah.
their faces against things,
There's-
you've summoned it, it doesn't
It's
really matter.
that
Yeah.
they already pretty much do stuff like that. That
Yeah.
they damage themselves, but they do more damage the other thing. So yeah, just
Stuffed piglet.
yes.
That's all they're for.
Yeah.
Run in, bang.
I would touch as many models as possible. Explode me! Explode me!
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be interesting. But
Yeah.
Just improved.
Cool. Rob.
I'm going on a bit of a negative now.
Okay. We can. Plot twist. Cool.
Just in general, I'm hoping it's just the way they're summarising for now.
Yeah.
But the way they're going, this master is a full summoner. This master does this. This master does this.
Are you worried that it's going to be the only thing they do? They do this one thing very well, but they've got no.
But it's
other
pretty
kind of
much,
flex.
if you want to do summoning, you take this master.
Mm.
If you want to do summoning within this faction, you take that person.
Okay.
I've enjoyed having the versatility and being able to do different things with the masters. Reducing the number of upgrades also makes me think they're going away from that. I mean, it won't stop me doing it because it'll be suboptimal, and that's just my thing apparently. Joe, you've got your hand up.
See, I'm on the opposite side of the fence on this.
I think me and Ryan are going to be raising the same point.
So I mentioned right at the beginning that I felt that factions had lost their identity. I think that part of this, the lack of upgrades will help them to stop that kind of that bloat of this master can do 17 different things based on which one of the 17 upgrades.
Well, I think if you want to be playing Fighty Neverborn, you take Nakima. If you want to play Summon Neverborn, you take Dreamer. If you want to play this Neverborn, you take that guy.
Yeah.
All for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to be going, oh, well, if I want to play... Summoning seems good, but do I take Sandy? Do I take Ramos? Do I take Rasputina now she can do it? Do I take one of the... No, like... I don't like the direction they took with the last lot of upgrades, where it was cool to be able to do extra things with different masters, but I would rather they were slightly more pigeonholed into this is what they do well.
Yeah.
I still want an alternate option, rather than I put the master on the table or declare which master I'm using.
And then I suppose your opponent knows exactly what you're doing.
Right, you're going to go for this game plan. In
Yeah.
part because I don't learn the models and all the rest like that, I will be at a disadvantage. But I quite like taking a model. I put down the master and you go, oh, I don't know which way he's going to go with this.
Yeah.
Pandora's an example. Do you take box Pandora?
Yeah.
Or you've got the very different voices?
You've got sit at the back Pandora, controlling Pandora, or you've got bubble Pandora, death Pandora, basically. The two options.
Two options would be okay.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we've got 3 or 4. And that's too much, and that, like Brian says, it just dilutes.
Well,
the
for some of the later masters,
it does seem like, and our medical correspondent agrees that I'm just reading from here. Defined roles within each faction for masters. So you've got your blaster master, your melee master, your control master, and your summoning master, and then variations or faction specific things around them. It seems to be a pattern. It will possibly help with balancing the factions to go, right, this is our summoner, that's their summoner. Can we make sure that they're in tune? Mm-hmm. So you're balancing 7 models against each other. But I can see there being a downside in the variety that you can do. Maybe it's an attempt to make you buy more stuff. I want to summon, I'm going to buy, you're going to need to buy this model. Yeah. You want a melee, you need to buy this model, rather than buy this one master that does it all.
But there's going to always be a couple that can do each thing, I think, and that's where you get the variety in there.
Yeah.
I'd like to think of it a bit like those, when you play role-playing games and stuff, and you have that, like, pentagon or hexagon of things, and it has your arrows of how far out you go to how big each one you are. So you might go, well, they're a full summoner, so their summoner bit is right the way out there, but they can do a little bit of blasting, or they're full summoner, but they can do a little bit of fighting, or a little bit of control. And it's where the other points go that will define more how it works.
So they're a summoner, but they've got a little bit of tweak in every other area that can...
Yeah.
That's where your flex
And that's where your flexibility is going to come in. And maybe your upgrades are going to change which direction you're pointing those bits in. Like for Dreamer, he is a full summoner now, that's what he does.
Yeah.
But you might have the upgrade that goes, take your fucking bat with you and bash some idiots with it. Or you might have the one that goes, no, I'm quite tired, I'm going to let Chompy do all the work.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. In actuality, there's no real need for Dreamer to be a melee character. It's like tangent from what we're talking about. Because he's got Chompy, he just does Chompy things. I'd quite like to see his diddling about simplified, actually. It'll probably just be done with tokens, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was just. I'm hopeful. It's just they're keeping it simple for telling what people are doing, and there's going to be that option because I like the flexibility and the opportunity to surprise your opponent.
Yeah.
I will find it, I think, more boring to just look across the table and go, "Oh, you've taken him. You're going to do the summoning."
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, with some of them, Karai turns up, there's going to be summoning.
I was going to say there's an element of if someone puts down Nicodem at the moment, I know they're going to drop zombie horse bastards in the middle of my line because that's what he does best at the moment. So yeah.
But at the same time, you're still going to hopefully have hidden objectives. We obviously are because some of them are going to be revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the way you go about some of those. There will be options. I do not think Malifaux is going to become 40k in a...
That's one of the things they said they want to keep the tactical depth and options. So,
but I think they will have a more defined role.
Yeah.
They probably will have an option to branch out. I'd like to see upgrades that go, drop this, gain this, more.
I'm quite happy to see Sandeep become a full summoner. because at the
Well,
moment
Summoner, tank, support, bastard.
he does everything really well,
Yeah.
and
He's an Arcanist. They all do everything really well.
Not true.
Yeah.
You just
close
do
enough.
things really well.
He's an Arcanist. They all play Sandy because he does everything really well. I mean, why did he have Impossible to Wound?
Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
Because he'd
Thematically.
stolen Hard to Kill off all of the Metal Gammon.
There we go. So,
Yes.
but you know,
Lick them all.
a little bit of rebalancing in that, especially with the last wave of Masters, would be quite nice to see. Everyone else probably get a boost or similar.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, the lack of options could be a thing. Hopefully, that's the kind of thing they'll build in later anyway. As
a
well.
reduction in options is going to put me off and
Yeah.
reduce my investment into third edition.
Yeah,
But I'll have to invest a little bit into it at least to see what it is.
yeah. You
so-
can read my book; it's fine.
That's what I did with most of the
Buying
books.
card decks will be the thing, won't it?
Yeah, well,
We'll
and
come
therein, you need to, you'll be getting what, 2 faction decks?
Yeah, we'll come to the physicality of how this will work in a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. We will return.
While I'm being a grouch, Zoraida.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed Zoraida's versatility
yeah,
and being that manipulator of fate to be able to take, I'm gonna field Zoraida. Yeah, I can put absolutely anything with her from the Neverborn. I suppose I know that's what they're trying to get away from, but then my style was more to be I'd throw a bunch of Nephilim with her rather than Swamp Fiends and confuse people and confuse myself and not do so well.
Oh, see, I'm reading Zoraida and going, I need to buy her. She sounds really interesting to me, but that's a different.
Yeah.
You know, my play style is very different to yours.
Well,
anyway.
the play style, yes, looks interesting.
Yeah,
But the idea that her thematic crew is going to be, most of them will have penetrating stench.
yeah,
Okay, the mechanics, stunning enemy models, so they can't use zeros, they can't use triggers. That's nice.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just have the Swamp Witch and a bunch of swamp creatures and the Silurids and all the rest. I also want the Manipulator of Fate. She's not just the Swamp Hag. That's the front she puts on to most of Malifaux. But there's more to her, and
she seems to have that with the card manipulation.
Yeah.
So cycling cards when the opponent cheats fate. So that ties in, and the Skins of Fate action, which sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Which forces both players to discard their hand and draw 6 new cards.
Hey, the way I draw cards, I'm going to need that and be doing it virtually every turn.
You can have that for every crew, Rob. It's fine.
Yeah,
That just sounds amazing to me. To go, I've drawn a load of shit. Get rid of yours.
It's where thematic crews fall down for me. Is when it's a
If the ability's not
it's
particularly
when the crew's going to be distasteful to me from an aesthetic or something.
Yes.
This is me. I'll just play suboptimal. I'll grab a load of other stuff and
also-
throw Zoraida in
just
because I've
what
got her and spent
happens,
time converting
like-
her.
Yeah.
But we always. I have my obviously manufacturers Arcanists, as everyone that listens knows. Don't give a shit about Hoffman. Don't give a shit about Mei Fang at all.
I like Zoraida though. I like Zoraida. I don't
it's
like
sad
the
to
sound
have
of...
something taken away that you enjoyed.
I'm
but-
losing Lilith.
Yeah.
Collodi's pretty much off the table if I want to be doing most of the tournaments, or at least for story-wise.
Yeah.
Collodi's off the table. Am I losing Zoraida as well?
Yeah, and this is the thing, is that we've been very positive so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very easy for me to be positive about this because I have far too many models.
Yes.
I've got 3 gaming cases full of stuff. I've painted I've painted 220 soulstones worth of stuff, and I have half filled one of those cases. That's just this year because Aaron set me a painting challenge. Well, I kind of set myself a painting challenge, and you joined in and failed.
Well, the year isn't over yet.
But I've got so much stuff that, okay, I play 10 Thunders now. Okay, I've still got lots of guild stuff, and I've got lots of Neverborn stuff left over. It's fine. Those with smaller collections or more focused interests are the ones that this affects.
Yeah.
Either loads more or loads less. If you're just
on the luck.
if you played Von Schill and Victoria's, then it's not going to bother you.
Yeah.
But the more that the less you play, the more likely it is to mess you about. If you're new or you have very focused, I really like this model played this way, and that way is going. Then this can be unpleasant for people, and it can be the kind of thing that turns people off. Maybe not immediately. They'll probably buy the books. They'll probably try it, but it might damage their long-term investment in the game. And actually, I think it's quite brave of them to announce this edition change what feels like quite a long way in advance, because people are probably going to stop buying stuff till they see how it works and see what happens and see how it goes.
You've got the beta,
which is open to everyone, and that's why,
which will help.
Yeah.
Also, on top of having the beta, well, the big thing with the beta is you're not going to get the we did this because we thought it would be cool, and everyone going, that's shit.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really like that.
Yeah, there should hopefully be less surprises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, the beta will happen. They'll take the feedback. There might be a follow-up, or it will be changed as it goes along each month.
I would expect it to.
But there will come a point where the beta finishes, but maybe things will still be changed. But probably not massively.
Their stated reason for not giving a release date is so that they can do as much playtesting as they feel is necessary and continue it past. They didn't want to be overrunning.
Yeah.
I really like that attitude.
Yeah.
We're not rushing it. They're taking the Blizzard approach.
Yeah.
We're not going to rush it. You can have it when it's ready, and it will be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can play with what we've got for now.
Yeah.
And tell us what you want us to do better, or tweak and play and do.
Because the game's not broken.
No.
So they don't need to desperately fix it before people jump ship.
Yeah.
So
sometimes rule editions happen in that way. Edition changes happen that way. I remember working at Games Workshop, slightly different, but they announced a new edition of the game 3 months before it hit. And then I had to sell that to people. That was hard.
Yeah. You should buy this thing that's invalid soon.
Yeah. All the 40k sales stopped.
Yeah.
For 3 months.
Versus when they sold all the second edition 40k stuff off.
Yeah.
Just before announcing the third edition, but didn't. Everyone was going, you must be doing a new edition. Yeah. No. Yes.
But there were people coming in and saying, I've just bought a brand new army and I don't even know if it exists. I mean, Tomb Kings in Age of Sigmar, they don't exist. Yeah. Bretonians are dead.
Yeah.
So, that's a bit crap. We're not having that waiting.
Nope.
Which is good because other games with large collections of models will go, cool, we'll have a little book to tide you all over, and then we'll release a codex and they'll be the best, and then they'll release another codex. I say codex because my main thing is this is 40k.
Issue with Malifaux second edition because they released a lot of stuff like Wave 1 and Wave 2 for the changes and upgrades.
And it pissed people off.
Yeah, it pissed people off. And if you're joining now, I'm trying to get hold of Wave 1 Gremlins cards, unless I want to spend £2,000 on Amazon, I can't get it.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist anymore
because they stopped printing the Arsenal cards.
But even though those models still exist,
you can get them from the printy thing in America.
Yes,
but that costs £15 postage and packaging to send some cards across the sea because that site is bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mince my words. It fucking annoyed me last year when they did the really big errata and changed loads of stuff, and I ordered the pack and it cost me £15. Just to get it over here.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
I
ridiculous.
I haven't played any of those errated models because I couldn't justify the cost.
And this is a thing that actually I quite like is that we're not having to do that for a bit anyway. Because I can't look in my book and go, what does this model do anymore? Because it's probably changed.
No.
The app's there.
Yes.
And the new cards, it's been pointed out to me by our correspondent, fit much nicer on a phone screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So maybe that's a tie-in. But they have said they're not going to force people to use the
Alan's
app.
Pulling a face. I love the idea of the app.
I love the idea of the app. It's bum, but I like the idea of it.
I've played a couple of games with the app, and sometimes there are times when it's really useful.
Yeah.
But there have been a few times, it might particularly because of the layout, and this new changes might help with that. Like, okay, where is this listed? I
think that will get better.
Yeah,
just putting the card directly onto the screen so you can see all of it would be so much easier. But why can't they do that now and just turn your phone sideways, though?
Yeah, they could.
They could.
But they haven't because you could do screenshots and then people would have the cards.
Yeah, but then if they're going to follow that, then you wouldn't get the cards and you might have the same problems. Oh, life is hard.
I think it will, because they have the chance now because they put a lot of effort and time and money into the app. You can tell.
Yeah.
It is shiny.
Yeah, so I think that they are genuinely going to be designing this edition with the app in mind.
Yeah.
They'll design the cards with the app in mind as well. Because
Just to make them
do we
more-
put it here or here? Well, if we put it here, it's better for the app. Why would you not do that? To push the extra thing you've got.
Yeah.
and
You
some
want to
extra
make sure
revenue.
it's symmetry to it. Yeah, which perfectly understand.
So-
I don't like the fact that it's portrait, not landscape anymore, and that is just my pettiness because I like.
I quite agree with you. I like landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have so limited space at the table, so it might be more of an issue for us because we play in limited spaces in the
Just
UK.
in general,
Yeah.
I just like landscape. It's an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
Our correspondent then, talk about the
It's
cards,
pettiness.
I like portrait.
has told me that he likes the kind of Bioshock Art Deco kind of style of it.
does
It's a
fit,
different style.
yeah, I do quite like
I
that.
don't like it. I didn't like the look of the other side cards, and they're very similar. I don't like the look of the new cards. I don't think they look as cool.
I
They
miss-
look as nice.
I miss
They don't look as
The old ones
thematic.
look a bit like ID cards in a
Yeah.
way, and I kind of like.
They're kind of parchmenty, aren't they? They're like a kind of worn thing, and
To me,
they've got more character to me.
Yeah,
Agreed.
To me, those characters look like dossiers. They're
Yeah, a
they're
little
appropriate
bit,
for the age.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can open. There's like a paperclip holding bits in.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
the photos
Yeah.
and all the rest. Okay,
Yeah.
photos of colour, and that's inappropriate for the era.
But
Magic.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, to me, it felt like right, this is the information the guild's got on this person.
yes, thematically,
I
that works
like
really
that
nicely.
more than the art's pretty.
Yeah,
From what we've seen of it, it's more consistent. But I think I like second edition artwork more.
yeah, I'm the same. It's like
Am I just being conservative?
But as the
about
website says, all of the art and any new sculpts and stuff they're showing are not final.
Yeah.
These are subject to change.
yeah, so it could a
So-
lot of people turn around and go, "I don't like this. Could you make it look like the old ones again?" But
Yeah.
portrait.
The reason I think they'll go away from the old ones is apparently it was difficult to read. Some of the later printings, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Because that
yes.
ink bleed was horrendous.
Yeah,
and you
that
get
was-
really.
printed because
Yeah,
it's
you-
a portrait
yeah.
card. Is
Any card is going to be shit if you.
print badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having the extra artwork and the bits off centered and all the rest takes up space
Yeah.
that they want for rules.
Mm.
So if anything, I can see the artwork getting smaller,
Yeah.
so as to have more room for the abilities on the front and then the attacks and options, the action options in the back.
Perfectly alright.
Yeah, makes sense. One again, it's a little tiny
wounds at the
niggly
bottom.
thing. The wounds at the bottom, yes,
They are very, very tiny.
Yes. They're going to be
It's horrible.
I'm going to rub them
used.
out accidentally every single time
Yeah.
I pick up the
You
card.
already do.
I do that already
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're in the middle, and it happens slightly less often than I imagine it
But
happening
you
every time.
pick up from the middle.
I like to grip it firmly by the husk.
I grip from the bottom, and so we'll be rubbing wounds out.
Yeah, when you're flipping.
But it's,
I'm
the
going to
thing
have to
is,
learn a new.
We can sit and go, oh, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap.
Yeah.
Within a month of playing with the new stuff, we're not
Yeah.
going to fucking care.
Yeah. There's
It's petty. It's little petty thing.
Yeah.
What you
And to be honest,
petty man.
if this is the shit we're whinging about,
Yeah.
yeah,
they're doing quite well.
It's not too bad.
There have been other changes to other systems.
Yeah, but we don't
Almost
know
every
that
change-
much.
No.
I would go back because there was something else I was going to say about one of the masters, but I feel like we've moved on. So let's move on.
Yes.
Um,
Good choice.
So this is a huge balancing job. Do we have faith that they're going to be able to balance 49 masters?
Yes.
Yeah?
If they take a year over it, they ought to manage it.
Yeah.
They've got the community involved
Okay,
early
so
on.
we've got a couple of things in a couple of builds that are a bit OP at the moment.
Yeah.
Because people have access to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Action. Apart from those, apart from Sandeep and Nicodem,
Yeah.
who are for us playing and
Well-
tournaments we've been to, who's massively problematic?
I would look more to the bottom of the list and look at those masters that you don't see get
I agree
played.
that they need
I
to
think
bring
there's more of
up
those.
more than bring things
Yeah,
down.
I-
But I think that's a good place to be in.
I think we've got kind of a skewed thing where there's more masters at the bottom that people just don't use competitively
Yeah.
unless they're Rob because he's suboptimal.
And
I'd
we've
argue
seen
he's not using them competitively.
That's word of the
One
day.
tournament this year.
Yeah.
You've been using them in a competitive environment. I don't think you've been using them competitively.
But I can
Lost, one win, one draw, and I
Yeah.
took Lilith. I didn't use it well, but
Yeah.
I
I
had
can
fun.
I can think of things in each faction that
Yeah.
aren't particularly good. Hopefully that will go. I think there's always going to be some stuff that people favour more over others. It is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
we've got no idea how far into this they are. My guess would be that the moment that they finish the rules and design for the other side, which yes hasn't come out yet, but was done a while ago. It's production issues and models rather than rules. Yeah. They shifted immediately to this, and they probably had a lead in before that anyway. So we could be looking at upwards of a year's work on it already.
Well, if you look at, if they're going to go, here's the beta. Now, I'm not particularly interested, like you said, Brian, in playing it right now. But I'm interested to see what they've got included in it.
Yeah.
So if they go, here's the beta, and it's got fucking everything in it,
they
spent a fucking long time on this.
Yeah. If it's got one master from each faction as a sounding board, then that's different.
Then they're starting from a much earlier position, point in the design process, which is also not bad.
Yeah.
Because they could potentially pick a master, all the fighting masters from each faction, playing against each other, do the balancing thing that you were talking about earlier.
And then go, right, if we throw in summoners, do the summoners crush the fighting masters? Do they not? Okay, let's have to balance this, get that equal, then put in the control masters. You could go down that route. It will take longer. Yeah. To be honest, as long as they do a good job, I don't give a fuck how they do it.
Yeah.
Just don't ruin the game I like.
Yeah. Broken Promises, to me, screamed new editions coming.
Because they didn't add any masters, and there wasn't...
There was a lot of attempting.
There was a lot of little bits for everyone.
Big changes in the fluff.
Yes.
With the new Governor General coming in, Franco Marlowe.
Yeah, apparently the tyrants are quite important.
Well, so says Tom McMorning.
Yes.
So Nightmare's made his move.
Yep.
Potentially, the dragon could be making a move. We've seen no mention of Shenlong. In the Ten Thunders. Is he even listed on the website? He is listed on the website, there's been little mention of Shenlong sort of since. I suppose it didn't need upgrades, so it wasn't really in Broken Promises. Obviously, Morning's outed as a Reza.
Second.
Just seeing if there's anything that, it's nothing fluff-wise at all in this description, so...
Not really for any of them.
No, really.
No, there's little bit. I mean, like the new master of the key and gong thing, as it implies little bits and pieces,
they're
but not
new, so you need to give a little bit in there. Like the old ones haven't got much.
But I mean, the upgrades for the likes of Hoffman and everything felt like stopgap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've played Hoffman with a variety of those new, using the new upgrades as well. And they still didn't... They weren't much of a power boost. I might just not be playing him well. I've learnt well how to beat him as a result, because I know how people have beaten me. But it's... Let's see, obviously with Nicodem being dead, McMorning being out of it, Lilith being buried.
So they've kind of built up and told a climactic story... Here's a cliffhanger, new edition, let's do some new stuff.
Yeah, it felt like it was, that's it, now we're going to have to do the new edition. This is us letting you know, here's your notice. Yeah. And that book was, a year ago?
Almost to the day, because it came out at Gen Con last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So potentially they've had a year from that to get on with it.
Yeah.
Possibly before that, because they were obviously planning it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting how they're going to juggle two games.
A lot of companies do it.
Yeah, it's just... Okay, this goes on slightly to something else. Weird's not that big. As a company, is this them pushing and trying to grow, having two games, trying to get a new market? If you simplify Malifaux slightly, then it becomes easier to run two games, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, that might be an issue.
And do you know what? While we love the complexity of Malifaux, I think a slight simplifying of some of it isn't the end.
I don't want to lose all the cool, what's your scheme, what are you doing, how's it working, bluffing side of it.
Some of the bullshit rules that take ages to figure some stuff out with, quite actually bin some of those off.
Yeah, the inconsistency of wording.
Consistent wording is so easy to do and no one seems to do it.
Yeah, WizKids, you fucking twats.
Fantasy Flight.
Apparently it was a problem in 1.5. It became a problem in 2. The errata tried to handle a lot of it.
In 4 years' time, we'll be going, fuck's sake, Malifaux 3rd edition. You're also inconsistent, but it'll be okay for a couple of years.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll have learnt and be able to. Limiting it to 11 conditions, for instance, is a place where you can then basically run a database of them and just check exactly what the wording is.
I suppose what you're doing there, though, is you're limiting your own design space. Yeah. Because if you can have infinite conditions, you can have infinite things happen. If you have 11 conditions, you can play around with those 11.
There's no limit on tokens.
But
that's
you've
just
got
what
tokens,
I was thinking.
yeah. So that's the thing. So how do we think this is going to happen then? Because you cannot fit all of the rules for all of these models in all of the factions into one book, unless it's big enough to club someone to death with.
I'd love the Malifaux tome, big as an army case, that you like the ridiculous ones.
Have you seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, where he has the book that contains all of his books and it's bigger than him?
Yeah,
and he has a device.
I was about to suggest a grimoire, but spelled GRY, and then that's its privateer press.
They are going to follow. I would put money on this, I think. But I think they'll follow exactly what Privateer Press did. And I think that with this new edition, they will release the main book. It will have a base master for each faction. And then they will release faction books that have everything up to date into it.
Yeah.
With updated fluff, more stories, loads of stuff in it. Those will take a while. But you'll get the cards straight away on release. So you can wait for the book. Yeah. The books will have a new thing in. They might do them all at the same time, which would be cool, but I wouldn't hold my hands out, hold my breath for it.
No.
I do think that they will release.
They were looking to hire writers, as in to write stories, last month.
Yeah.
Which implies they need more fluff.
So you might be right.
Now individual faction books.
My guess would be faction-specific books. I would really, really like for them to have a starter box from the start of the edition that isn't a piece of crap.
Yes.
The starter box they've got at the moment is quite nice. It's easy to play. It's easy to use.
It's a nice introduction to Malifaux, but it's not a good way of getting into the hobby.
No, it shows you how to play the game. It should have a mini rulebook in it, not a uber mini rulebook with hardly any of the rules. Yeah. It should have models that you actually want to use outside of that box.
Just 2 crews.
Yeah, 2 crews would be good. It has 2 decks of cards, which is great. They can do something nice with that. It has a scenario that's reliant on scenery and no scenery in the box, which is annoying. And it has 2 of the worst tape measures I've ever used in my entire life. They are seriously the worst bit of official merchandise. Not only have I ever seen Weird release, but possibly any games company ever. They are bum. They are the horse armour of tabletop wargaming.
They are the floppiest of all tape measures that I've ever used.
What do you think was worse? Most Games Workshop things in the early 2000s, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But I sold loads of those.
I love their plastic sticks. Don't knock them.
Yeah.
The whipping sticks.
Yeah.
I've still got 10 of them.
Games Workshop are still releasing things that are toss.
A normal thing with a skull on it for twice the money. Yeah.
No,
not just cardboard trackers that you get for free with the Kill Team pre-order.
They're not cardboard.
No.
They're that really thin sort of painted on plastic that will scratch off in a bum. I've held 2 now.
So I had that as scratch off in a bum, and my bro was like, just don't put them in your bum, Joe, it'll be fine.
Is that where I'm going wrong? I shouldn't store my hobby supplies there.
You've got a very abrasive cleft. Wiry, like a Brillo pad.
Keeps out intruders.
Yeah. No, it's not. Those tape measures aren't quite the worst thing ever, but
they're not good.
They're not good. So I'd like to see a proper, rather than like a £35-40 box, a £60 box that's worth having. Or a fucking £20 box that's worth having, and do it as a lost leader.
But I don't. Do you know what? I don't want them to put scenery in.
Yeah, but they've got nice scenery now.
Yeah,
though.
But it's going to be costly.
Slowly.
Yeah, right. But you put one bit in the box to get them started on a collection, and you're like, all the rest of my gaming table should match.
Malifaux. How much of the board should be scenery?
400%.
Roughly, I agree.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to include at least half of your 400% in the box. Off.
Yeah, but you might...
Because if you buy a box going, this is everything I need to start playing, you need to have enough scenery in that box to start playing. So I'd rather they just didn't bother rather than the usual GW thing of, we gave you 2 ruins.
Yeah.
Done.
See, I'd just like something in there because one of the scenarios was like, use a nearby potato as a bit of scenery.
One thing that
but not everyone has access to potatoes, Joe.
One thing that's been done, certainly by GW quite a bit recently, is the bottom half of the box becomes a piece of scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether you turn it over or whether it becomes part of that.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, just something
for the scheme, just
for starting.
Yeah,
be
for
fun.
learn the rules.
A starter box like they've currently done, where you've got 4 models aside max.
Yeah.
You could be looking at an 18-inch to 2-foot wide.
Yeah, the
mat.
Yeah.
The initial schemes that they put you through
just
aren't putting you at normal length. You are very close to each other to get you straight into play.
So something small about a more self-contained.
The models from the starter box were just made to fit the starter box and were massively simplified. So I'd like them to have something with a bit more meat to it in the long term.
Malifaux.
Angel Eyes is still worth taking.
But putting shit in like
never used
a mat and stuff like that, unless it's going to be a 3x3 one that you're playing your games on, fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't waste the money making that shit when you can put it into having better crews in those boxes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Rob said, if you can turn the box itself into something, then there's no loss in that, potentially.
But we're all agreed it needs a better starter box than the one they've got at the moment.
Definitely.
Obviously, the one they've got at the moment won't work anymore. But, something
But
better.
don't just update it, do a proper one.
How much then are we expecting Arsenal decks to cost, given the sheer number of models per faction?
1 to 200 cards potentially.
More than that, because you've got
upgrades and stuff.
3 models for some
minions.
models have got 3, and you want a separate card for each one with a different picture on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I want separate cards. I want separate pictures, unlike the Arsenal decks we got. Which for the unreleased models were flips and zoom ins, and
I would quite happily have an Ice Gammon card with 3 rows of health on it. So I can do all 3 Ice Gammon on one card.
With a tiny picture of each one? Takes up a lot of space to have 3 sets.
1, 2, 3, right on the basic of that first. Remember it, whatever you do.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, see, I prefer the
It's a move
current
from what
way.
Malifaux are doing at the moment, but it's cost effective, and I get irritated having 3 Ice Gammon cards sat there when they're all doing the same thing.
It's more open to abuse with the app, because your opponent can't necessarily see which one you're hitting. If the app shares, so you have a shared board on there so that you can see that way.
Yeah, there's that. I suppose if someone's doing that, there's plenty of ways at the moment they can cheat anyway, but you're right, it does make it
you could
easier.
just open up a different Ice Garment and do it that way.
So
the regular Arsenal decks at the moment are what, £15 to £20 roughly?
£15 each. There were 2 of those that took us up to the 3rd book. We'd probably need another one's worth of models to cover what's come out since, but maybe then slightly. You'd probably be looking £40 a faction, maybe.
I'd hope they'd do it at 20, but I would suspect more like 30.
I expect 30.
I'm thinking just number of models then number of cards to cover the models
again,
would be
is
3
why
times
I don't think
1.
having it consolidated is a bad choice.
But then you get economy of scale.
Yeah, that's a good point. As long as I don't have to spend £15 in postage from America when they fucking come out, I'm fine.
And
they come out timely.
I've got really grumpy since you guys set me off.
Yeah. One thing I do really like, I'll twist back now and be the positive one.
Good.
Their approach for retailers.
Yes.
I was looking forward to getting some cheap models, but that's not going to happen.
No.
Because what they're going to do is send out cards to update the boxes that are already on suppliers' shelves.
Yeah.
So you've not got dead.
So
our local friendly gaming shop with those first edition models might get some.
I'd hope they do. That'd be amazing.
But if I want Collodi, I could hold out, buy it nearer the time once those renewal cards are in, and instead of having to buy the whole Dead Man's Hand,
you could have just got.
I can just get those ones.
Well, you want what? Collodi Lilith?
Well,
I'll go in to get Ramos.
I've just taken the Wild Boar off my wish list. I was going to get them for Zoraida, because I could drop. At the moment, from the shadows, you put those 3 out. They have to charge the enemy. Okay, if the enemy kills one, out pops Bad Juju because it's a Swamp Fiend, and I took Eternal Fiend. Potentially, out pops Killjoy from the same pig if I'm feeling really vicious. But if I get them, then I'm going to have to buy the Gremlin faction, the Bayou Arsenal deck.
That's why they're called Bayou.
They're the only Bayou models I would have. And that's potentially an extra £40.
Yeah.
I'd offer to split it with you, Aaron, but I know you have wild boars, so you would be needing them anyway. Because at the minute, I need every Arsenal deck bar Gremlins,
But
possibly 10 Thunders.
they're giving all this stuff away for free on the website as well. So it is possible for you to print and play yourself if you're that. If it's just like a
I
single
think
thing,
you might get to the point where
Is it going to be cheaper for us all to go in together, get a really good printer and a load of decent card, and print our own cards?
No, more than likely not, because it tends to be quite expensive to print in colour.
I really hope
And it would be
not,
really
because
hard
I
to read
can't
everything
be
in
asked
black
to
and
cut every single one of those cards out.
No, we'll get an intern. We'll get a Critical Twits intern and offer them some vital work experience. We'll let them be in the background of a podcast. This is capitalism. This is how it works. Yeah, they get exposure. Exposure kills.
It's how Wife of Twit turned up.
Yeah. So, speculation on that side of things. I think the new boxes will either be very big or very expensive, or one or the other. But that's fine. Deal with that later.
Yeah.
It's probably going to cost a bit of money. I'm now going to I now wanted to have a quick look at the supply side of things then. We're notorious for having supply issues. I mean, we're
evidenced at the moment.
Yeah, we are in the UK, and we get quite a few supply issues. I know in further flung places in the world, it can be really bad. They could be months and months behind.
Probably be us too if all this shit goes ahead.
Yeah.
So,
So
just stay with second edition for 4 years until stuff finally makes it to us.
Yeah, I'd be really annoyed if I was playing the old version of the game while other people were playing the new one. All the forums I read and the Facebook groups would all have moved on, and I would feel very sad. Hopefully that's something they can sort out. Now, we'd then have precedent for doing a Kickstarter to launch a game. Would we expect there to be a Kickstarter for Malifaux 3rd edition? They've kickstarted Through the Breach twice, and they've kickstarted the other side.
So rather than saying, would we expect, because, again, precedent's been set, so it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Is it a bad thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate Kickstarter for established companies launching products because I don't believe that's what it's for. And
they've got other income revenues that they could pull from.
Yeah.
They already have established areas they can grab to do things.
It is a highly capitalist marketplace, and therefore, if something works, then people will obviously use it. I say this as I don't like Kickstarter. I backed quite a few Kickstarters. There's very few that I'm happy with, and that may be part of why I feel the way I do. If there was a Malifaux Kickstarter and it said, we will send you one of everything new, plus all the stuff to update your old collection to the new cards and stuff, I'd just back it.
Yeah.
That's
exactly my thoughts.
And that's what I would
Especially
do.
if it comes with shiny things.
Yeah, if we're getting new models for the new Masters straight away at the same time, are we expecting those to come out at the same time?
Or whatever it is, really, like, I don't have a problem with it.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't back it. No,
that's fine.
Yeah, but
get out.
Well, not have,
because you wouldn't know if it's any good.
If you're backing it for the level you're saying, like getting one of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd maybe grab a couple of models cheap, but would be waiting forever potentially because of, as we say, supply issues and all the rest. Kickstarter's getting delayed and all the rest. I wouldn't be putting in the sort of money that would be required to get much of the benefits.
Yeah.
But also, as you say, they shouldn't need to run a Kickstarter when they've still got models selling. I presume they'll still have models selling because there are quite a few Wave 5 models that haven't yet released.
Yeah, there's still models that aren't out, and that's another thing, is that was it Hinamatsu you're talking about? It's not out yet and isn't up. It goes best with a model that won't
essentially.
So that's what an odd position to be in. I kind of expect a Kickstarter in January.
Yeah.
That's my expectation.
Well, then I think that fools because I didn't go in on the other side.
Yeah.
In part because it was January and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Right after Christmas is a stupid time to run a
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
It's just they did it
like
once, so I expect them to be stupid again.
Well, I hope they're learning from it.
Yeah. I'll put it on
They
the
do
credit
appear to
card
be
this
a
time.
company that actually learns from mistakes.
Yeah, so
they do listen to
so let's remove January. A Kickstarter with lower tier stuff where you can just order the new rule book and the cards or faction cards specifically.
Well, yeah, you have
Or as add-ons.
this faction, this and this faction, this and this faction, this and all factions, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
blah.
If they do it as a Kickstarter, I will just not be buying stuff until I've read the free PDF version and looked at the free PDF cards and then decided whether I actually want to invest.
Yeah, I mean, you might read.
If it's a standard pre-order,
yeah.
then I'd probably order
Kickstarter becomes a pre-order, doesn't it? That's what.
Yes.
That's the thing I don't like actually.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying that I think that's going to happen, just to rewind slightly, just so you know why I'm saying that, is because of their issues with the supply chain in the past. I think it's actually the best way for them to ensure that customers get what they want roughly in like the month of release. If they're trying to get stuff to all different parts of the world and get it to friendly local gaming stores so people can walk in on, Malifaux 3rd releases on the 13th of September 2019, how many people worldwide are actually going to be able to get that stuff on that day with their current systems? Probably not. And it's probably, it is their fault that their current systems are a bit shit. But it seems to me to be the best way for them to do it.
It's not really going to make any difference from a consumer standpoint, though, is it?
Because they know
you're still going to be waiting for it, just as long as if you're waiting for it to turn up in the store, you're just not going to have that expectation.
No, because you say, right, everyone's going to get it in September, yeah, and it gets released, and that's what happens in a Kickstarter. You get everything within a rough time scale. If they're saying Malifaux 3rd releases on this day and it sells out in Australia, and half the people in Australia haven't got it. I use Australia because they seem to be the worst affected.
Yeah, they do.
Their next shipment might not be till January. So you've got half their player base that can't pick it up until, for months and months and months. So for me, it makes the most sense for them to do it that way.
Because they can go, okay, all of Australia want this. We're going to have to make sure there's enough there to send out.
Yeah, I mean,
but if they get delays with getting it to Australia, do they delay everyone else's so they get them around the same time?
Yeah.
I'm currently waiting on a Kickstarter I backed last year. For board gaming shelves. They've had numerous issues.
Is that the game Throne box? What's it called?
Throne game.
The Box King. Box King.
Box King. Because Throne of Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. See, I was close-ish.
Well, anyway, so Box King's having to do its release on a rolling cycle.
Yeah.
So they're going to start releasing in September.
Yeah.
The UK won't get it till at least the start of November.
Yeah.
Because of how they're having to do with shipping. Okay, it's a large item and all the rest. It's going to be a bit different to necessarily to Malifaux's one. But they're going to be opening their website. Because obviously they need money coming in.
Yeah.
So they're going to open their website to pre-orders in each region when that region's Kickstarter has gone out.
Yeah.
So they'll be taking pre-orders in the US before I even get it or anything like that.
Which would slightly knock me, yeah.
And I can see that same thing potentially happening with Weird if they're having shipping issues or customs issues as they're currently having.
Yeah.
How then? Most of the Weird models are made in China. Yes, or at least they're produced. That's what the boxes say. Why it's taking them so long to ship from China to Australia?
Do they ship it centrally? They ship it to America and then ship it out.
To America and then ship it out.
With
it has to be checked.
With the Kickstarter, then you start that differently, and it goes differently. You do it differently because you set that up as a one-off thing.
You're saying check at the distribution office. How many samurai do I have?
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm just thinking that, there's all sorts of problems with Kickstarter and its potential fulfillment and delays and similar. If they were to try to release so much stuff all at once with their current methods, would it work?
But they're not trying to release everything all at once. They're
releasing
doing the
cards and potentially a book.
Cards and a book.
That's not a lot.
Yeah?
That's not a lot.
If it's only potentially a book, I'll be annoyed.
Yeah, but we think if they're going to release a book and then the faction books, they're probably going to release one book first and then the faction books.
If the books and the
a month or two later.
A book and cards.
Yeah.
So if the books and the cards are delayed, everyone will have access to them free online.
Yes.
Not ideal, but there will be the access to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The models are going to come later. Some of them, like the new Masters, will be important. Things like Lucius having a new box because Dashiell's been promoted.
Yeah.
Or
And
Dash will have his own box.
well, Dash will need his own box, but Lucius will need another box. That might come afterwards. They might well reuse Dashiell's existing model and create a new named henchman as a stopgap measure or something like that. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who's Justice, because the judge is dead.
Oh yeah, the judge is officially dead. I don't know if he's like going to stay in the game. He's probably going to be legacied in the same way that Lilith and friends will be.
Well, the dead man's hand so far has only mentioned masters and totems.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping things like the judge, unless
I would hope so as well.
Do they put someone else
He
in that?
is a
No, he is a
deathmatcher.
character.
He could just come back. He could be
Yeah.
Judge Part 2.
It takes away from Justice's story.
Yeah.
Because the judge and Justice came over from Earthside together. There was a romantic entanglement.
Yeah. But if he's a sexy zombie, it's fine. That's development, isn't it? Would you shag a zombie?
No.
No?
Why do you think he wears the blue mask? He's already a sexy zombie. He's a death marshal.
Well, he could be a
He's a less sexy dead guy now.
be a sexy, slimy, putrefied zombie.
But Marshall's already taken that spot.
So I don't envy Weird, then, to summarise that slightly chaotic part of the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't envy Weird attempting to release rules for hundreds of models all at once in various card and book forms, however
But
that
we're
may
glad
be.
that they are.
Yes.
I suspect the book will have all the masters in, and everything else will be left in card. And then we'll get. As you said,
I'm hoping
book
for
essentially.
I'd like a nice faction book, but there are other ways they could do it. I like the idea of having a book with, say, one core master from each one. It wouldn't surprise. Oh no, it would surprise me. You could have had a new one in each one, but the Gremlins don't get a new one. The Bayou doesn't get a new one.
No, I don't.
Just sort of thinking how they could.
Not that I've announced yet. They might try and change that.
I'm putting my
possibly,
Catalyst
but-
hat on and trying to effectively monetize the situation.
There's still no Lenny as a master.
Yeah.
That might be what the Bayou is currently lacking.
Some men are born to follow. Some men are born to be in every crew. He might not be able to be in every crew anymore.
Well, he's the new general
He's in
of the
charge.
Bayou, so in theory he should be available to every crew.
Yeah, generals sit at the back though, don't they? So I never understood.
Lenny does whatever he's told because he's busy petting his pig.
Yeah, I never understood in war games why your general was your best fighter, because we look through the history of, say, the British Army, the publicly educated, anemic, frail guys at the back hollering into a telephone and getting everyone killed wouldn't stand up to a sneeze, would they?
No.
Because the likes of Warhammer and everything built off the hero from role-playing games
What?
rather than directly off the war
Yeah.
games that predated the likes of D&D.
I like a proletarian hero. I should be playing Arcanists. Okay, so to summarise then, are we excited?
Yeah.
Has all that bumming around in it?
No, I am.
Yeah.
It will refresh the game. It will make me take more of a look at it rather than that sort of stagnated spot that I'm in now.
Yeah, I've been really busy, but I haven't touched anything Malifaux related for a good couple months since April. In fact, no, that's 4 months now, pretty much. Oh God. And actually, I've been doing loads of painting because Malifaux is on my mind, and I'm thinking about Malifaux, and I've dragged all my stuff out, and I've painted a few models in the last week or so because I've been like, oh, Malifaux's a thing. And I quite happily play more games now.
Yeah, I'd like to get back into playing.
Part of me goes, let's play it while we know the rules.
Yes. One thing then. So at the moment, we rely on the app for like the updated versions of the errata and things like that. Will the app? Do you think the app's is presumably going to shift to 3rd edition?
Yeah.
Would we then lose all of our 2nd edition support if people don't want to swap over straight away or want to carry on playing the old game?
I would hope they'd carry on.
Would there be a
both.
2nd edition button?
No, I think there will be a 3rd edition app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you'll buy that, and I think you'll buy the cards again.
Yeah.
Okay.
The latest update.
It wasn't that expensive for me, but again, I can see that annoying people.
The latest update of the app has gone from just having Zoraida's Voodoo Doll totem and Malifaux written on it to now stating bad things happen.
It does, yeah. It's called Bad Things Happen, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and now they've
they
put
did
that on the
change,
front. They might give the 3rd edition app a different name. So they've got
Ours.
that legacy one.
Other Malifaux words. That was ours, not arse.
I didn't say I had asked. Was I all right?
Yeah, that's right.
Calm down.
That's not how I disagree. Sometimes it's how I disagree with you.
That they could go with the Guild's whole established 110 post-Forus
Yes.
thing, which is bullshit, but
Yeah.
never mind. That would derail the conversation even more.
Yeah. Cool. So we're all excited. That's good. Does anyone have any closing thoughts? Sounds like a trial. Closing arguments, please.
Closing thoughts. Do we try the beta?
I'm tempted.
As am
Just
I.
to have a look. It's all,
No.
I'm going to sign up and read all the things and then not play any games. Is that wrong, morally?
No.
No. It's there.
The ends justify the means.
Yes.
I think that's what they're expecting, which
Yeah.
is why they've made
Yeah.
it an open beta as a way to reassure people.
I mean,
The issue, in terms of a podcast, I was going to sign up to to it first, and then went, hang on, if I sign the NDA and have a look at any of this, I can't really join in the conversation with speculation
well,
because
this is
I'm biased.
So we
Except I don't think any information has been released yet, because they said it's going to start after Gen Con.
we're not going to podcast about second edition Malifaux anymore. We might do a bye-bye thing, but there's no point us keeping up with rule changes and similar because
But it shouldn't be any really now.
Well, there was just an errata, for instance, that might be the final one. Probably not,
Could be a January.
unless something really interesting happens.
Yeah.
Or we go to a tournament. I don't think we're going to carry on as we were. But what we might do is look to talk about fluff and background and that sort of thing, because that doesn't change. That's a constant. They've not rewritten any of the background. They're moving the game forward, and the storyline is moving forward with
which
it, which is
they did
good.
The last edition, and is already
Unlike when Warhammer 40,000 wrote out the squats and then pretended they didn't happen for 20 years, for instance.
And then went, oh no, they got eaten by the Tyrannids because somebody actually had an idea for.
Yeah, they went, oh, bugger, people remember those. And
But they did that for 20 years.
Yes.
Not just for like, oh, can we just say they got eaten?
But now they're back.
They are back. There's
A Necromunda hired gun.
It's a squat. Yeah.
The
Joe's just collapsed.
having just been reading the Neomunda rulebook, there is reference to a spire built specifically for abhumans and permitted Xenos on the side of Hive Primus. Mind you, there's also a page where it says the Necromunda rulebook will be available separately and have all the rules, including the 3D stuff. And obviously that didn't happen, but that's an argument for another time.
Well, that's part of why Games Workshop is still a bit bum. So
final thoughts. From reading through the bits on the website and everything that's said, I think Malifaux is going to become by what they're saying they're trying to do, it's going to become a faster paced game.
Okay.
I think Malifaux is kind of slow at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talked about that extensively over a long period of time.
We're not just slow at Malifaux.
Yeah.
One of the things they've said, with adjusted deployment zones, increased threat ranges, and more mobility options, blah, blah, blah. So, adjusted deployment zones, probably a bit closer.
Yeah.
Increased threat ranges, we mentioned that before, more things having more reach.
Yeah.
Awesome. More mobility options, awesome. Like I was mentioned to Rob while we were, you two were discussing something earlier. Mayfang, who can teleport.
Yeah.
That's the ability her thematic crew have now.
Yeah.
The whole lot of them are going to be flinging themselves across the board.
The Victoria's, the entire crew moves 4 inches when it kills something.
Yeah, so I think
each
the
model.
game is
Yes,
going
everyone
to be much more shit happens.
I wonder if that's why paralysis has gone as well, because that just slowed things down potentially. You had a model that just wasn't doing anything, so...
Is
get rid of that sort of
slow
doing
still
stuff.
in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because slow and fast still cancel each other out.
Yeah, cool. We will still be talking about Malifaux on a semi-regular schedule. Whether we talk about fluff, I would quite like to go back all the way to the very beginning.
Yes.
And start discussing the fluff from there, because it gives me a reason and an excuse to go back and read through all of the stuff.
I've read the first 8 Weird Chronicles since we discussed doing this podcast.
Yeah.
And some of the material and some of the stories are really nicely done.
I read those.
Some of them made me want to get a red pen out.
I read those way back before any of us played Malifaux.
So we'll carry on talking about Malifaux. I do hope that there's a giant Kickstarter just because our unboxing videos go down really well with people on the internet, and therefore I'd quite like to do like 7 of them off of a giant crate of models and stuff. But you know, my
I'd love a
priorities are
models
warped
to
as
turn
fuck.
up. That would be quite cool.
I think you'd be
By
looking,
forklift. Just
Yeah.
I think you'd be looking at 12 months from end of campaign to even start of fulfillment. If
Yeah,
they were on
and they might
time.
release in waves and similar anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Dark Souls, the board game that still hasn't released the stuff I should have had a year ago. So we might do the beta. We might just look at it. Depends how much we can talk about. We'll try and talk about a bit of it. If I can start playing it and it looks good and it looks really fun and we can talk about it, I might never play 2nd edition again after that.
Yeah, potentially.
If it's good and it grabs me,
Well, it all depends on what's included.
and it depends how it hangs together and how much of my stuff I can use and how sad Rob's going to be if we go that direction.
Well, with my spread of masters and my luck, I'll probably find none of mine are in the first wave of playtesting.
No, I think it's challenging for them, for a company their size, to be finishing off the other side. I think actually sales will drop because people will not know what's coming up and what to do and what they want to play, and you know, if there's new models for things coming out as well, or maybe wait and see what else comes out for it. But I think maybe they're kind of banking on the other side tiding them over.
Yeah, maybe.
Would we play the other side when it's out?
No.
If they made the squads out of the plastic that they do Malifaux, then I'd give it a go.
Your miniatures first.
It's just those PVC.
Yeah, so you don't like that. You're very much game orientated.
Yeah, well, yes, but there has to be enough of a hook for factions. Like, if I was just wanting to play the best thing ever, I would probably play more Masaki because she's super alpha strikey, which is what I really like playing.
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck about her.
Yeah.
Just like I looked at all the stuff on the other side and went, none of this grabs me.
No.
Just don't give a shit.
It felt a little bit all over the place, thematically and such. Like, I was interested. I quite like the Gribbly Monster things that they've got. I miss my Tyrannid army from my 40k days, but I don't. But Kill Team looks bum.
If the other side were the role play, the partner to Through the Breach.
Yes.
I'd have got that straight away because the setting intrigues me.
Yeah.
The rules are take or leave from what I've seen of them.
Yeah.
So it's the models that fall flat for me.
Yeah, I just think that's what I think.
Because I've got Through the Breach 1st edition that we've played twice. I haven't got Through the Breach 2nd edition because we only played the 1st edition twice.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to buy 1st edition Through the Breach?
Once we've played Simba Room, Polaris, and everything else.
But I'll give you a really good deal. I need to make space. Cool.
I'll borrow it to read the fluff.
Lies.
Because then won't return it. You need shelf.
That's good space. Good space? I can't even talk. Okay, so please leave a comment where you are, telling us what you're thinking about 3rd edition, what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to, whether you're going to commit, whether you're going to walk away in a huff. That's fine. You're allowed to.
Killed my Nicodem.
Yeah, that's fine.
Justice killed Nicodem. We've established this.
Because we could always do a bit of a follow-up based on what people have said. That'd be really cool. If you really like what we do, then please make sure to tell a friend, because it's the best way to make what we do
Just
grow.
one.
Yes, just one. And like whisper it in a really kind of James Bondy kind of way in their ear, and then they'll think it's amazing.
Can you demonstrate whispering in a James Bondy kind of way?
Money penny.
Knew it would be sugar.
So tell your friends that's the best way for us to grow. If you really like what we do, then please like the thing and subscribe. That'd be awesome. And if you really like what we do, there is a link wherever you find this somewhere where you can send us money that we can put towards buying new Malifaux things and shoes for Aaron.
Yes, because despite my hobbity ties, my feet are massive.
They
it's
are.
really awkward.
Yeah. He has to get them specially imported from Australia, and it takes ages.
It's not real.
Yes. So thank you very much. It remains for me to say I've been Brian Ennis.
I've been Joe.
Yeah, I've been Aaron.
I'm Rob.
I'm the only one with a surname. That's really weird. Brian. I'll cut that in later. Bye! I'm the only cunt that said goodbye as well.
Yes.
Okay.